republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
Councilor Perry?
Present.
Councilor Cook?
Present.
Councilor Janik? Present. Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor DeMedeiros?
Present.
Councilor Burke?
Present.
Councilor Vieira is absent.
Consent agenda. Approval of Town Council minutes, August 9th, 2022, regular meeting. Councilor Perry abstains, absent. August 9th, 2022, executive session. Councilor Perry abstains, absent. August 3rd, special meeting. Councilor Cook abstains, absent. Acknowledgement, receipts and minutes from the boards, commissions, and committees. Solar Ordinance Advisory Committee 1. Historic Preservation Advisory Board 1. Open Space and Land Preservation 2. Zoning Board of Review 2. Acknowledge receipts and reports. Treasurer Charette, July 2022, Budget and Revenue Reports. Acknowledge receipt of correspondence. Peter Monis, letter regarding repainting of crosswalks at intersection of Boogamarsh and Roosevelt, referred to the police department. A.G. Miranda, letter regarding August 9th, 2022, council meeting agenda, item 5D1, paving remainder of Captain Circle. Rhode Island DEM request for information regarding the development of new shore-side facility to support commercial fishing, agriculture, seafood, and other potential uses. Approval of tax assessor abatements, $263.34. Any of the council wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Donna?
I do. I would like to pull A1, D1, and D2.
Anyone else?
D3.
Council Burke, D3.
D as in dog.
Anyone else? I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the rest of the consent agenda with the exception of A1,
So moved.
D1, 2,
Second.
and 3. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Councilor Cook, A1.
Yes. So the regular meeting, it was referred on August 9th. Let's see. From A.G. Miranda regarding paving, referred to DPW director, and I was wondering if we were going to get an answer for that, the referral to what the problems are.
Donna, say that again, I'm really sorry. So A,
It's the minute.
So in the consent
Right.
agenda, under,
for A1,
Oops.
that was referred to Public Works.
do we have an answer to that?
So are you talking about the August 9th meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was referred to Director Rogers, and Director Rogers' opinion was that because when they overlaid the GIS mapping over those streets, that street area that was not paved is constituted to be Massachusetts area. That was his opinion.
All right, my question for that is that this keeps going back and forth. Is there any way to mediate that with the solicitor to find out what's actually going on over there? Because it sounds like some of the street
It's
is
forever.
not being maintained.
Well, it's because it's forever done, it's not Tiverton.
You can't just leave a part of a street not maintained, like what
Right,
can
so
be
they
done
need to
about
go
it?
to Forever Council and see if they can get that paved.
Okay, so you're going
That's
to
what, that's what the citizens need, they live in Forever. So
Right.
that street is in Forever.
Not the gentleman who sent us an email, though.
Yeah, A.G. Miranda.
Right, he lives
Yeah.
in
in Tiverton.
Tiverton,
He lives in Tiverton, but he...
that's a Massachusetts street, though.
So we would have to look at the deeds
I don't know,
of
it just
every one of
seems
those
to go
properties.
around and around. All of the people there are insisting somehow that it's always been in Tiverton. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but They're very unhappy. I'd like it mediated somehow, some way.
We'll take a look at it, but it's gonna take looking at every one of those deeds to determine where they are.
Well, you know, they do pay their taxes and like, just to
If it's
kind of leave them
Massachusetts, they're
hanging.
not paying taxes. They pay
Do you
taxes
see
to...
what we're saying? The
Yeah.
Tiverton residents on this side
Right.
are complaining about the road, but that road is not ours. So we can't pave that road. It's Fall River that has to pay, that does that road.
But we just need to coordinate with Fall River so that they can,
And I think Rick has reached out to them.
Yeah.
that's,
It
yeah.
is, okay. That's what I was concerned about. And then, Mr. Monis, we're going to get a report from the police department
Yes.
regarding the painting
Yes.
of that. Okay, was there anything else?
And then you pulled
think that was
AG,
it.
you
You
pulled
did
AG Miranda.
to
Yeah,
the
1 and 2.
Okay.
Miranda
And,
letter.
But you pulled the minutes too.
well, some of what
To have
was,
to
I
do with that.
needed was in those minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're all set, thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion to approve A1, D1, and D2.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor? D3, Council Burke.
So my only piece on this, I appreciate that DEM is moving forward with doing something with this property. Not certain that we would be able to, but if we were at all able to participate in the RFI review, even informally, because I think we do have a vested interest in what goes in there, at least to give input, that'd be great.
Okay. I'll talk to them.
So that'll be referred to the town administrator?
Yep.
Actually, EDC is also working on it as well.
Okay. So we'll refer to the town administrator and EDC.
EDC, yeah.
Move acceptance of D3.
Do I have a second? Motion been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Public comment, I have one,
I'm
and
in
it's
favor.
Peter Monis. It probably has to do with D1. Peter, you here?
Yes, I am.
Where are you? All right, would you like to come up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm not too happy about the rain, because I want more rain. So I'm here about D1, which you assume everybody's got a letter from me about that. And I'm here for a postscript on that. To give the audience a better perspective of what I'm talking about, I'd just like to go over it quickly, what the letter states, then I'll go to my postscript, okay?
Okay, briefly.
Yes, because I don't want to be here all night. So, my concern is the crosswalk. It started off with the crosswalk on Booger Marsh, located next to Roosevelt Avenue. It's a state road, and it should have been taken care of by the state. But that crosswalk can't see it at all. It's a safety hazard. A safety hazard for injury to pedestrians and bicyclists, and sometimes drivers, because the crosswalk will slow people down normally. If you're a good, sensible driver, that you would slow down a little bit because there might be a danger ahead of you. But the crosswalk is to help the people on Booger Marsh and the development down in Stafford Farm, in that area, to get across to the ballpark, the dog park, the library, Sandy Woods, and the playfields. It's a very busy highway now, and it's a safety hazard. So the crosswalk will help a little bit. It's not a magic bullet, but it's a bullet.
Well, that's
But-
why we referred it to the police department.
Yes, I
so that
realize that it's
they
been
could get
referred to the police department.
MyDOT's attention.
Right, and I assume that will be taken care of, and still in the councils, who are you laughing at?
No, the chief is saying yes to me, that he's going to take care
Okay,
of the
let's,
police chief.
can I concentrate on my?
Yeah, go ahead. I am Peter. I just looked at the chief who said yes, he was going to do that.
Okay,
Go
but the
ahead.
council still has a responsibility to make sure that's followed up, because it is a safety hazard. And when
I
somebody
can
gets,
assure you, Peter, that the council follows up on every single
I
thing that
hope.
goes through here.
I-
So it will be followed up.
I know the
guarantee you that.
council, but I'm going to mention what I want to mention. So my postscript is, Stafford Farm is my subject matter there. Way back when that project was approved, was basically approved in 2 phases. Before that, the town,
Stafford Farm, what are you referring to?
it's right across from the library.
Okay, but that's not what this agenda item is.
Yes, it is. My talk is about that, though.
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused, like, we said we'd take care of
Yeah,
it.
so I don't know why we're prolonging.
Well, because there's another point I like to postscript onto my letter. I know you're going to take care of it, hopefully, but there's another error in this town about the planning board.
Wait a minute,
What?
this cannot be
There's
discussed.
supposed to be a sidewalk.
Peter, this can't be discussed. This was about the crosswalk, and we're leaving the agenda.
No, it's not. But it's not. It said Peter Monis on it.
Peter, this is about the crosswalk.
Yes, and it's a safety hazard. And
Okay,
to improve
and
that safety hazard,
We're going to take care of
the
it.
planning board was going to submit. The planning board said,
Peter, you're out of order. I need you to go sit down,
"You're
please.
not doing your job."
Okay, that's fine. I feel like I am, but you need to sit down.
Madam President, one thing about that area, there's a sidewalk on the,
We're not supposed to comment on public comment. We're just supposed to listen, and that's
Okay.
it. Okay. Public hearing, DeWitt Clinton Clemens III, consideration of sound variance for a wedding at 3... Yes, we did. Yes. Okay, deep breath. DeWitt Clinton Clemens III, consideration of sound variance for a wedding at 393 Seapowet Avenue on September 10th, 2022, from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., and request approval of a special event permit. You don't have to move. We have made you move way too much the last few weeks. Your wife can come up if she'd like, or you can talk from there.
This is actually, it's their wedding.
All right, all right. It's their property, right? It's their property, right?
It's actually not, it's next door.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want him to move again, because we've had him up here 100 times in a while.
He's a junior, I'm a third.
Okay. All right, well, he's famous, so that's what it is.
Want to first thank Donna Armstrong. She's been helpful in getting us here and setting this up. We have put together some information. I wasn't sure if there was a process to submit this in advance, but we have it here if it's helpful for people to review, just so we're on the same page.
I think, yeah, sure.
copy, sure.
Okay, I'm starting to get hot. Oh, look at this.
I have to ask what you do for a living.
Yeah, similar.
I can tell you're a third, too, because
Yeah.
yeah, we know your father.
I run a film studio.
Oh, okay.
So similar. And this is Allie, my fiance.
Hey, Ally.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So
Wow,
happy
this is pretty good.
to give you guys a few minutes to review that. It's got contact information. It's got a layout of where we plan to put all the vendors. And it's got a map of the noise impact.
You didn't list all the guests.
There's not much missing.
You're not on there, Joe.
Yeah, I'm not on it.
You live in Tiverton, right?
So. as
You
as
live in
prob-
Tiverton.
I don't live, I grew up in
Oh, I was
Tiverton.
hoping you did, because I wanted you on the planning board.
Yeah.
This is pretty impressive.
I grew
All
up
right,
in- I
good.
grew up in Tiverton and I've lived in Boston for the last
Okay.
15 years, but as you probably know, my family's building a house next door to the venue. So one property south is where,
Oh, all right, I know exactly where you
yeah.
are. Okay,
Yeah, where we're building the house.
okay.
Wait for good weather.
That's right. We're checking the Atlantic all the time. Good. It's looking clean.
You even
Rain or
have,
shine, it won't matter, as long as you get
you
my...
even have who the staff parking's gonna be.
Yeah, there's everything in here.
That's with a different property. That's with the neighbors, one to the north of this property, where we're renting those parking spots. There are about 20 parking spots there. And we'll make sure to light the road so that when staff are walking at night back to the venue.
Yep.
That's safe, because there's no sidewalk there, so we'll make sure that that's well lit.
Madam President, I have
I was just, was there anyone that you contacted up in heaven so that we could have a nice day? I don't see it in here.
Yeah, if you know anyone, let us know. Yeah.
Any questions, Mike?
So just two inconsistencies in your application, so I just want to make sure which is which. On the special event,
Yep.
you list that the ceremony starts at 4, dinner reception to follow, band starts at 7, runs to 11. Then on the sound variance,
Yes.
you have the start time as 5:30 to 11.
So we had submitted the sound variance application before we had our timeline
Okay,
scheduled, so just conservatively put it earlier than we thought we might need, and now we know that the music will start, the amplified music will start at around 7.
okay,
Oh, okay.
okay. That's good enough. Thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions? I don't, I know.
Yeah, and apologies for not giving you that information.
That's fine.
You know,
No, this is great.
nobody gives us this
Right.
information, okay? So I want to tell you that.
It's a presentation.
I really love this.
Yeah, I think the important part is obviously just monitoring for fire, given how dry it's been. And so that's why we made sure that we have that fire access road clear.
Yeah, I see that.
And we'll have fire extinguishers at the tent as well, so.
I have to tell you, this is, all kidding aside, this is very impressive.
Good.
I think we should put this as an example to everyone who wants to apply.
Do you have a second career as a wedding planner?
I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved to accept,
Second.
to approve, pending all legal, meeting all legal requirements.
So I was also told by Donna Armstrong to contact the head of the police and the fire departments. Should I just work with Donna to do that, or?
Joan, it's all been,
Okay, great, okay.
I don't believe we'll need any special,
Actually, police chief's right back.
All
yeah.
right, I'll give him a
Yeah,
copy.
yeah, give the police chief, he's gonna be pretty impressed with this too. He doesn't see this every day. And I don't think there'll have to be anything special, but
Okay.
he'll tell you.
Great.
All right,
I just
Yeah, I know.
I just wanted to say something.
go ahead.
I just wanted to wish this young couple
Oh, thank you.
on your journey to matrimony all the success and happiness that there is in life, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Donna.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Just, there's one thing that I wanted to draw everyone's attention to, which, we'll talk to the neighbors about, which is that we're having our guests dropped off by a school bus, and the school bus will be stopping on the street. So that's it, as far as what we're doing that's not on the property. The school bus will be letting people off on the road, and it's one of the reasons we got a school bus, is so it has the sign that comes out and says stop. So, but that's the only activity that will be happening off the property.
Good plan.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you can make a second career in this. All right, so-
Congratulations again.
yes.
Oh,
We
wait
have
a
to
minute, I
vote, we
need
have to vote.
I have to vote. This may not go through. No.
Oh,
I have a-
shame, shame.
Motion is second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Congratulations. I hope everything goes well.
Good
Thank
luck.
you. This is something.
So, can you help me identify the police chief and the fire chief?
Sure.
He should be in
Patrick.
uniform.
Patrick, raise your hand.
There he is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The guy in the uniform.
Yeah, oh, yeah, but he's hiding.
I know, he's hiding over there.
He's hiding. All right. Oh, you know what? I didn't open a public hearing. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that because we got so excited about the way he presented this. I want to open a public hearing. Does anyone have anything to say about
The wedding.
the wedding?
Congratulations.
Besides, congratulations. Does anyone else?
Close the public hearing.
All right, I'll close the public hearing. Shame on me, but I got so excited by this.
Now open this one.
Well, I'm going to talk. Boy, am I going to talk. Hector Rivera, Smokers Paradise, LLC, 46 Main Road. Request approval of a tobacco deal license subject to meeting all legal requirements. Before anyone comes up, I need to say a couple of things. I will, after I speak. This was brought to my agenda. meeting, and this is for a hookah bar. Now, we...
That's,
Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm really
These are two
sorry.
different
Okay, Hector, you're fine.
You're in the wrong place.
Are you sure you don't want a hookah bar? Okay. All right. Go ahead, speak. I'm really
So-
sorry.
So far, I've done everything you guys asked me for. I got all the state permits, I got the dealer's license, everything. I applied for the Tiverton sales license and stuff like that. The only thing I have not been able to do so far is get the approval from the police department. We've been there a couple of times. I just talked to the chief back there. I'm gonna go back there tomorrow. I did talk to the fire guy, but I'm not ready for him because I got the JR alarms finally came in today.
Okay.
I've been trying to get them for 2 weeks, but they're so busy. And I want to have that all updated before I allow the fire guy to come out. So that he doesn't have to say, you need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. He's going to walk in and say,
Across the
Good.
street from Tiverton.
so what I would like is just a conditional approval to open my business. I'm not going to open it.
We can do
until I
meet-
come back with the fire thing and the police thing.
Well, we can make a motion to approve this meeting all legal requirements, and you wouldn't have to come back, as long as you meet the requirements of what the police chief and the
That's
fire.
why I don't want to have to come, that's why I came here.
That's all
today.
you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need, as long as we put that in the motion. Now, where is this exactly?
Kind of
It's the
across
old
from Tiverton
Ives Barn
Liquors.
Furniture Building.
Oh,
I've been
okay.
there for 27 years.
Okay.
And what I'm doing is I'm sectioning off the front of the building. It's like 33 by 48 wide to put the store in,
Okay.
okay? But the rest of the building stay in my use as my business too, okay? But what I'd like to do is just get a conditional, now you just said what I wanted to hear.
And your current business is what, Hector?
I'm
What's
sorry?
what's your current business?
The current
Oh,
business.
Rainbow Photo and Electronics. We've been
Oh,
there
okay.
for all
Oh,
the
okay,
time,
okay. I got it.
But,
Right. All
you
right,
just said
so,
what I want to hear, conditional acceptance.
well, they
So
all
all I
have to
need to
vote,
do-
but I'm just saying what could happen.
So all I need to do is come back with the thing from the police department.
To the
and
clerk.
thing- To the building, and the thing from the fire department.
Yes.
And then I can open, because I already have all my licenses.
Zoning-
other than the ones
zoning.
from the town.
And zoning
And a
also.
zoning certificate.
It's a commercial use building, it's mixed use.
You still, I think you still need to get a zoning certificate for that particular. It's just checking with the zoning office.
A zone certificate?
Yep.
Zoning.
Zoning.
So just to confirm what the
Yeah,
zoning is, that's all.
they'll just say it's allowed in that area, but we need that.
Retail, it's a retail,
Yes.
you're selling retail. It was a store on the side.
See, I have more in furniture building
Yeah.
since the
I-
early 90s.
Since I was a
1900s,
child, yeah.
You know, and I've had my business in there for 27 years.
It's just to protect yourself. Just
No,
get
I
a,
understand.
Okay.
I want to protect myself. That's why I got insurance.
All right,
And that's why I
so
came here, so that you guys knew where I was going with this.
I'd like to open the public hearing. Does anyone have any comments? Anyone from the audience have any comments? I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move approval of the license for, tobacco license for Smoker's Paradise pending meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
Motion been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. So what you need to do now is get a zoning certificate, which is easy. Then talk to the police and the fire, get their approval, and then go to the clerk. You don't need to come back here.
I appreciate that.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank
And
you
if
very
there's a
much.
problem, they'll bring you back, but I don't foresee that'll happen.
I don't think there'll be a problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You all
Thank
have a
you.
good day.
good luck.
Good evening. Thank you.
It's general business. I think down there, it's right at that line. I think. Yeah, check. All right, so this is DeAndre Mooreland, Dizzy Hookah Lounge, 525 Main Road, request approval of tobacco license. All right, so I do want to talk about this. And done it. So this was presented as a tobacco license, but this is more than a tobacco license. This is a hookah lounge. The zoning official originally approved this, but since then, we've done a lot of research. Rhode Island state law has this as a smoker's lounge. And there's certain things that have to be done, such as aeration in the area, things like that. Not only that, but this is a new business in this building. So we have to make sure that the septic is okay, because this is a lounge. This is where people are gonna hang around and smoke. And we have to make sure that that's okay. I've since been here. This is, so I don't know if you know where this is.
No.
This is where the tackle bait shop is. So you got the tackle bait, the hairdressers, used to be the old hot dog, and now it's a nutrition place on the other side. This is along Randolph Avenue. So if you go down Randolph Avenue, it's right there.
So it's in the basement?
It's in the basement, which concerns me also. The parking concerns me because there's limited parking, and I'm not sure if people on Randolph Avenue realize that this is opening, where there's probably going to be people parking down that road. I've spoke to the solicitor, Jay spoke to the zoning and building inspector. This needs a lot more investigation than just a tobacco license. So I would like to continue this hearing for, until we get all of this information to us.
That's fine. In the basement of,
So if you go down Randolph Avenue,
yeah,
on the side of the tackle shop, let me tell you, I was there with the flashlight this weekend. If you go down there, over here is a garage door. And
it's
another
not
door.
part of that strip then,
Yes,
Below
but
it.
it's,
It's the basement
It's
of
the
the,
basement
it's the
of the
basement of the
tackle.
weather vane tackle shop.
oh, the.
and the
okay.
hairdressers, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that part of the building. But there are many, if you go to Rhode Island state law concerning this, there are a lot of things that need to be met that was not addressed. So this needs to come back to us until the zoning, and the fire marshal even has to weigh in on this. The solicitor's going to weigh in on all the requirements. So, I know you're here, so we'll ask you questions about it, and that's fine. But I do want to tell you that this will be continued until we make sure we have all our ducks in a row.
No problem.
In a way, the cart was brought before the horse here, and so we just want to make sure that everything gets done correctly.
Understandable.
So, hello.
How you doing?
Very good. Would you like to tell us about the tobacco, the Hookah Lounge?
Yes. So, first and foremost, my name is DeAndre Mooreland. This would be a wonderful thing to get this far. It is a hookah lounge, which would consist of nicotine and non-nicotine tobacco, which there's no hookah lounges that could actually provide non-nicotine tobacco. It is strictly, the first thing is going to be hookah, not food or club, or as the first thing was we.
No drinks, no
No
alcohol.
alcohol. It is a hookah lounge bar, so the person that makes the hookah will make it right in front of you, not in the back room. Will be all done in front of you, whether it's with fruits, vegetables, certain types of mints and such and forth more. It's a small space. Yes, it is kind of like the basement / garage part of the building, which makes it one of the things is accessible to everybody. Whether in the wheelchair, whether in handicap access, ground level. It's mostly concrete, concrete ceiling, walls, floors. I am aware of the ventilation, so I'm already on ahead of that. Already, there's two ways of going about it, which would be either, air ducts, bringing fresh air and taking out the smoke air, or basically getting types of they call it it's a type of like almost like air conditioner, but it's a filtration system, and just very seeing which way we're gonna go about it. But yeah, it's the only hookah lounge in the area. After doing a little bit of research, I mean, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I'm originally from Fall River, so I have a lot of customers from the South Coast area. I did a lot of outreach work and stuff like that for the community of Fall River. I have a Plaque and Boys and Girls Club there. That's where I came up from. So just to give you a little background from my point, But yeah, this will be my first business. A lot of this is brand new. I never had to, actually open up something where I consistently sat in front of a town. So I'm kind of like, I don't know what's going on, right?
Yeah, you might not want to do it a second time.
So I'm more than welcome to, Anthony. I know a lot of people don't know what a hookah is. As I first started, saying I want to open up a hookah lounge, a lot of people are like, so what is a hookah?
I think that was the question originally here.
Right. Which I could gladly give a brief explanation about it.
Let me just interrupt if you don't mind. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Mooreland, so one of the persons that didn't understand what a hookah lounge was our zoning officer, right? So I think he originally thought a hookah lounge was a place where you kind of go in and buy tobacco and you don't really sit and smoke there. And I know that's what a lounge is, right? You kind of like you buy if you want to give a description, that's fine. But that's my understanding of what it is. You gotta go in, you buy a tobacco product, and you kind of sit and smoke with your friends there, correct?
Correct.
So that's why it's a lounge.
Right.
So one of the issues that we have on the town side is that we don't have a hookah lounge in our use table, which is the zoning code, but we do have, closest thing that I could akin to it is a tavern.
Okay.
And even that's not a great fit, but that's going to be up to the zoning officer to make that determination.
Understand.
And if he does make that determination, we may have to get some zoning relief for you for that business as well, but that's up to him at this point.
Okay.
So, but it's just another step you might have to go through, depending on what he has to say as to
Okay.
where it is. Because it is kind of a new kind of trend, right?
Yes.
So, our table of businesses, there's a restaurant, tavern, there's no hookah, right?
Right.
So, we'd have to try to fit it in, as close to what we have as a use. So that's one of the issues that I have from the legal side of it, that's all.
Okay.
So what he's talking about, a zoning, you would have to do just like this, go in front of the zoning board.
If it's determined that.
If it's determined, so it's just another step. You'd have to go there and they'd have to give you a special use permit.
Okay.
But that's after we get everything settled. And thank you for your patience, but we really, this is the first time we've run into this.
Understand.
And some of the people weren't even quite aware what this was. And at my agenda meeting, I had to describe it to everyone. Not that I've ever been there, but there's also a question about the septic.
Yeah, there's another issue, the building
There's-
will take care of that.
Yeah, there's other issues about whether the septic is okay for another building, another business, but that'll have to be done through DEM. But they will handle that.
Okay.
Okay. At this point, I'd like to open the public hearing. Does anyone out there want to speak about this right now? I don't even think the area knew what this was when it was on here. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close the public hearing.
We're gonna continue.
Yes, and I'll entertain a motion to continue so we don't have to re-advertise.
questions?
Yes, Deb.
What are the hours that you're expecting that you would be open?
Hours would be no later than 1 or 2, opening as early as, kind of been in the balloon park about like 7 or 8.
7 or 8 in the evening?
Yes.
Evening,
Till like 1 in the morning?
Or 2.
Okay. 7 p to 2 a.
Which all the other businesses in that plaza will be closed.
Yes.
Right,
Once
but
they
there-
hit
there
dresses
are-
in it,
Yeah,
yeah.
hairdresser, tackle shop, smoothie shop.
But there are neighbors around there too, right?
Correct. And I remember you mentioned about the parking, so.
There's a
with that-
parking in back, there's a
And the park
parking
in the
lot.
back and the park in the.
I'm not, I tried to count how many, I'm thinking maybe 10 cars there.
For the back, yeah, possibly like 10 cars.
And then there's 2 in front of your building,
Correct.
and there's about a dozen
Well, like 13 to
in
like
front of
14
the
in
building.
front, correct.
Yeah, this was me on Saturday night counting them all. So,
Can I just ask one more
yeah.
thing? Is there an age requirement?
Yes, there is.
21?
And that-
18 would be the youngest age.
So what's the age for
I
buying
think it's
tobacco?
21 now, because tobacco in Rhode Island has been increased to
Okay.
21.
Up, then it's 21.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you, right.
yeah, that just
They just
recently
changed.
happened.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because you said there's nicotine
Correct.
in that,
Yes.
okay. But but just tobacco, nicotine, non-nicotine, no alcohol,
No alcohol.
no food,
no
No
food.
food.
because a lot of the Providence hookah lounges have
Correct.
alcohol and food.
Correct. A lot of them, a lot of the province places started off as a restaurant, and their hookah is like the
Mm-hmm.
third or the fourth type of additive to their business. This is my first, because I want to, I mean, I consider myself as a hookahologist, like, I just love the study of hookahs, you know, I just looked into all of it, but I kind of want to bring that forth and foremost, you know, the different type of flavors and, you know, the originality of the hookah. 'Cause, you know,
So they just sit and
have the
smoke?
hookah, there's gonna be TV, there's gonna be, music, not club music, just music,
Soft music.
right, soft ambient music. And then, you know, further down the road, I may be able to, you know, see how far we may go, maybe get, you know, maybe some appetizers, or I would like to work with outside vendors first, you know, maybe there's a pizza shop that's in the area, because I know
There is.
one place that actually, that's their menu, is the closest pizza shop, so they just kind of like do straightforward. So I kind of like to try to set up shop with, you know, a local pizza shop or hot dog shop, don't actually produce hot dogs and, you know, small appetizers for my patrons that come and have hookahs.
So how many people do you think would be in there at any given time?
As I made my diagram, I want to say it should be including my staff, myself, no more than 70, no more than 70 people, 65.
That's a small space for 70, no?
That sounds like a lot of people
Well,
to me.
I believe there's,
Marshall says it can be 140.
In there?
Yep.
yeah.
Wow.
It's a very, very broad, very big space.
Yeah, I've seen it. I was
it's-
peeking in the window.
There's parking.
But,
Oh,
So
so
thi-
you're
this
just
is,
taking, so when I looked where the garage door
Uh-huh.
was, that's the space you're using?
correct.
Yeah.
And that goes all the way up to the, if you look on the side of
It
it.
goes all the way up to the hairdressers, I think,
Right.
right?
Correct.
yeah, it's where Randy used to have his restoration business
Yes,
underneath there.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes. Exactly, Mike. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. You're showing your age. Go ahead.
Deb asked one of my questions. So if I want a soft drink or anything, you're not serving that either?
Soft drink, that's gonna be available.
Okay, would
So,
that require any other, yeah, that's why I'm asking. You might need to
Okay.
look at other, like, even with, if they're bringing in food from outside? No? Okay.
But if they're serving,
Prepackaged food or like a soda, they would have to get a license.
No, but if he had the pizza shop bringing
Because
him,
he's not providing it.
okay, okay.
Right.
this is just the many things that we're just telling you about.
Which I'm
because
glad
you're
I'm hearing
brand new
about.
at this.
Yeah,
Correct.
there's a little bit of regulatory stuff we gotta get through, unfortunately, but.
No
A lot
problem.
of a lot of red tape, we'll be honest.
I
No
make
problem.
one comment,
Go ahead.
just so you know, and if you don't.
Okay.
In Tiverton, we don't have shared parking.
Okay,
So the parking for your business needs to be on the property where your business is.
correct.
So if you've got 70 patrons, you're gonna need 20, 25 parking spots. They're gonna have to be on that property.
Correct.
So 13, 23,
There's quite a bit of
Unless he
room
gets a
there.
variance.
unless he gets a variance. But you got about that. Yes, Joe?
Yeah, my question being the firefighter that I was, is there a second exit out of that building?
Not right now, but on the diagram, there will be one made as another point of egress.
Okay.
On the backside.
Isn't there another, in the back, there's another door?
There is.
On the other side, there used to be
that's
another business on the other
That's-
side.
That's way under the, under the
Oh, I'm
smoothie shop.
sorry,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's under the,
That's under the
The
hot dog.
nutrition and hot dog place,
That
yeah.
place, okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, any other questions? So I'd like to entertain a motion to continue 2 weeks? Do you want to do 2 weeks?
How much time do you think you'll need, because you got some how much time do you think you'll need, because you've got some regulatory stuff that you're gonna get through, I don't know if you're gonna get through
Why don't
in
we
2
do a
weeks.
month? Why don't we do a
Would
month?
30 days be too much for you?
30 days would be good.
Okay. Because the license should be the last step?
Yep.
Before, after you get all these other regulatory hurdles.
Like I said, it
Okay.
was kind of like the
And I think it's because
but I think-
we're not used to what the business was. It's a
Understand.
different type of business.
Yeah,
Understand.
so, yeah.
Understand.
So,
I'll make a motion to continue it for 30 days.
well, why don't we continue it, yes, but to the September 20th meeting?
That's good enough.
Wait a minute, September 19th? No,
No, it's
September
September.
26th.
No.
Why?
Joan, when's this meeting in September?
Why?
So the meetings for September are September 12th and the
Right.
28th.
No,
Be-
no.
Yes, because of the Jewish holiday on the 26th, 27th. So it's the 28th of September. There's a second meeting in September.
I'll give them a little more time.
You don't have an agenda yet for that, do you?
No.
No. Well, I know we've been moving things out. so-
You know, we probably have some stuff in there. We probably have some public hearings or something. I don't know.
We will have to have the STR and the
Right.
solar somewhere around in that neighborhood.
I think that's the 12th.
The farmer's market is the 12th. The planning board has to return with the STR.
Right, but we have 60 days to hold a public hearing from the time we sent it to them.
I was thinking that was gonna be in October. but-
It might be, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's around then.
Yeah, we have a lot going on.
I see.
All right, so we will continue it until the 28th,
28?
28th of September, and that'll be in Joe's motion if that's
Yes,
okay.
yep.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
Jay Edwards.
All those in favor? Okay. So the zoning and building are gonna review this again?
I think I would ask that you go back sometime this week or next week, when are you available to meet with the zoning officer and the building official to go over some of the issues?
Okay.
We've kind of briefed them a little bit on it.
Yep.
But so they're aware of it, but if you want to call and make an appointment, I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, is there a way I can get a copy of everything you guys need? Because I know you mentioned like different types of variants or whatever, stuff like that, right?
I have talked to the zoning officer already, so.
So he already
yeah,
has like
yeah.
a rough
Yeah.
idea.
But if you give me your email, or I can email you some of the issues that we have.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, we have the email on your application, so I'll take
Okay.
it from there, okay?
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Moran.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jay Edwards.
Yes.
Joe's keeping track of it for me.
Yeah, that's my assignment for today.
All right. 60, consideration of the petition to abandon Patrick Avenue and portion of Harrington Avenue located in Rhode Island. Planning board recommendation is here. We reviewed it last meeting. Why don't you both sit at the table?
Good evening.
Hi. Do you have anything to say other than what we talked about 2 weeks ago? Anything more to add?
No, I don't have anything more to add other than the site plans for the proposed home that Mr. Vivona intends to build if this application is approved. So if the council members would like to take a look at that, I can pass it out.
You gave us that last week, right?
Yeah.
I emailed it to you.
Yeah, we have it.
Yep, okay. Yeah, then you should have everything.
All right, I have a couple of questions. Do you want to start or you want me to? Okay, I was down there. I spent 2 hours down there yesterday. I did. What appears to be our roads, the roads that we own, you've already cleared, is that correct?
There's parts of it.
Why did you do that when it's not your land?
That's a good point. I was told that from the inspection's office that it wasn't an issue, but maybe I was,
Well, there's huge trees taken out, so now we got these big holes. This is not your land. You were not allowed to even touch that. And there's question right now about whether or not that's wetlands, and you've disturbed the wetlands. And it is not your property to do that to. Now, I don't know if you gave him advice that he could do that?
No, I
Okay.
wouldn't have done that.
All right. Well, I didn't think so, but it was very impressive what I saw. Because you can tell where our roads are now, because he's cleared them all. Also, along this way is empty diesel fuel containers where I smelled the dirt and I can smell oil. So you have to keep in mind, this is running off into Sawdy Pond. Okay? The neighbors were very concerned about all of this, and I know DEM is going there this week, because that is a wetlands area. It needed to be preserved, and you disturbed it, and it wasn't your property to disturb. And that bothers me. So, well, that's the first thing. I also, in all this area, there are these oil cans that have diesel fuel leaking. This is wetlands, and I don't know how important that is to you, but it is to the neighbors that live there. and it's also a water supply for Fall River. So this should never have been
There is
done.
no diesel cans there.
Oh, yes, there is. I have pictures. Yes, there is.
Those are hydraulic oil, but they're not.
Oh, okay, hydraulic oil is gonna,
I mean, I don't.
okay, I just have to tell you that I went up to one of them, and there's oil spilt all around. And it was leaking, and there's a stream right there. And that is on town property. We don't even know that yet, because there's a real question about this now. But that is not a good way to start with us, to do that. Okay,
Apologetic for that.
all right. I
know
did it.
that I know that I am not within the wetlands boundaries. I have.
How do you know that? Did DEM ever have, well, DEM was contacted and they weren't aware that you were disturbing that much of the properties. So that's why they're coming down this week.
Is it just my property or the property next door?
Well, you know it's very not clear. And there's another thing. The property, you have
The
a,
clearing is absolutely my fault. I talked to inspections and they said they.
so our,
But it's not their fault either. It's a miscommunication.
so our building
on my
inspector
fault.
told you you could do that?
I was told I didn't need a permit to clear.
Not your
I
land,
know, I realize. it's
but you're
not.
clearing our land. Okay, as long as you understood that.
Yes, I do.
Okay, and then, Lot 175 is not owned by Deborah Fontaine. That is owned by a corporation from Dartmouth. Is that you?
No.
That isn't you. Okay, so when I'm looking at that, that's cleared. And then you own the back lot with the trailer?
No, the trailer's part of that lot. But behind that trailer is part of the lot.
Okay, because,
That hasn't been disturbed at all.
okay, so Deborah Fontaine, that's not the owner. The owner is
No, it was sold.
yeah, it was sold. But I wasn't sure if that was you,
No.
because I wasn't sure if you owned that
No,
trailer.
no, no.
Because
That
there's
trailer
a,
was there when it was Fontaine.
yeah, because there's a septic being
Right,
dug,
right,
right? Is
right.
that you?
No.
Okay,
They're actually almost, the septic's almost abut each other. Look at the.
yes, oh, yeah, we were there.
Somewhere like 80 feet apart.
Yeah, yeah. Councilor Janik went down on Saturdays to make so.
And Sunday.
And Sunday. And Councilor Edwards and I met with the neighbors on Sunday. It's very hard, if you don't know the land, to figure it out, but they kind of have a idea of where everything is. This has been in their family, some of them forever, so they know this land. So they kind of showed us around, so that we had some idea. There is a question, and I don't know if you want to discuss that right now.
So nice to meet you, sir. Because of we took a close look at this since the application was submitted. And I know that Mr. Monti submitted some deeds today or last week that we already had. But I have a real question from a legal perspective, as these are roads that are platted, but we don't have any evidence that they were ever accepted by the town. So, or used by the town, right? So there's two ways, right? You gotta either use them or you can formally accept them. And then I think that's why your deeds kind of reflect the fact that every deed that has in this area basically says, we're gonna deed you the road, this land and the roadway if we continue to own it, blah, blah, blah. I think it was anticipated that at some point these roads would be formally accepted by the town, but unless you have evidence that they.
No,
normally
I
would.
think
Yeah.
it was a concern at the beginning when
Yeah.
we initially filed the petition. I wanted to touch base with you and with the town planner to
Yeah.
determine if the town would consider them public or private. And I thought we had understood prior to us submitting the application that they were in fact public, or at least that's what the town planner had advised. But I also have a Superior Court case that I can send you that I think supports a finding that these are public. So I'm happy to share that with you as well.
That's like an open, I'm happy to look at it, but it's
Yep.
an open issue that we have too, because I don't see any evidence that we've ever accepted these roads.
So what we're wondering is if all the landowners own those roads and not us, because of what the deeds say.
Yep, I understand that, and I thought we had already, I mean, there's emails exchanged between the solicitor and
come
myself
up-
and the town
well,
planner.
it's come up
Yeah,
now
but
that
that's
now
fine,
that it's in
whatever.
front
Now
of
that it's in front of
us.
you, it's coming up again, I'm happy to speak with
Yeah.
the solicitor and determine, what position the town will take with respect to that issue.
So I am going to open this public hearing, and yeah, I'll entertain you in a minute. But I do think that this needs to be continued until DEM goes to that property this week, until the solicitor really straightens out who really owns these roads.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we don't own them, we can't abandon them.
I can't give them to you.
No,
if
no,
we
and
don't
that's
own them.
that's why, I mean, we petitioned in April, and I specifically held off. We were ready to petition long before that.
But the planning board just sent it to us, so that's,
Yeah.
we had to get their recommendation.
No, of course. I mean, we were ready to move, in January, but the town planner was on maternity leave.
Yep.
And we wanted to get her input and the solicitor's input as to whether public or private. And I'm happy to revisit it. But we do think that ultimately, there will be a finding that they are public, but, we'll work on it.
Yeah, and Attorney Marcello will contact
Sure.
you, and we're going to try to figure, but this does
Yep.
have to be continued, because there's some questions.
Understood?
Council Brooke?
Yeah, I'm just, a couple questions. I'm looking at this.
Yes.
So I know it's hard to see, but this is where the proposed house is, right there? And this over here, it's kind of, yeah, my eyes aren't that good.
I mean, it's marked on the property also as well.
Oh, okay. And then this is your distribution box for the septic? Okay.
No,
So
that's the field.
this
Well,
one?
it's all of that, yes.
The D box is.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
It's part of
Yeah,
the septic
D-box
system?
is
Yeah,
up,
okay. So when you bought this property, you knew that there was this issue, right?
Yes, I was under the impression it wouldn't be,
Who gave you that impression?
people that have talked to realtors.
No. House is right there. So I guess that's my point here. If I went in to buy a property where I wanted to do what you want to do, I would have probably asked for something in writing to say, yep, absolutely, you have the right to even come to the town beforehand and say, look, I'm thinking of doing this. Is it something that could be considered? I don't know if we could do it that early, but at least have that conversation. Is there a reason why it has to be situated there and can't be, because you have,
It's mostly just to keep a house in the middle of the property, and truthfully, I want to keep as much woodlands and all that together, and I've had it surveyed, and we're out of there's a 100-foot buffer of the wetlands. And we're out of the 100-foot buffer, it's been approved by DE on that part.
But you
As
could
far
move
as-
it back and get other access.
I could. Well, actually, no other access to that lot. Well, from Edwards, we could.
Yeah, from Edwards there is.
But then there's wetlands to deal with.
yeah, there's wetlands
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, so then we kind of,
Yeah,
You'd have to move to the west of that lot.
yes.
as far as clearing any town, that's a total
Yeah,
misinterpretation.
there could actually be a fine for that, but we'll just forget about that right now, but I don't think you
We don't
can.
know if you own the street yet. That's.
Right, right,
Yeah,
but you can't clear town property. We've-
Certainly
We've run
not.
into this before.
Right.
Yep.
Okay,
totally
and I just want to
it's
make
not
that
right.
clear, okay.
That's all.
All right,
I was under the impression that I was doing things in the right order and all that. I've actually been in the office a few times and talked with them and,
yeah, I think you do have the
jumping
right,
the gun a little bit,
you do have the right to clear your property.
Exactly. But,
And that's what he
and
was
I get
telling
that,
you.
yes.
Okay, I'm going to open the meeting. I don't know if anyone would like to talk now or if they would like to wait until we come back and continue this meeting when we get more information. It's up to all of you. This will be continued and I'm suggesting this is continued for at least a month. So,
They don't even, DEM said they would try to get out there this week,
So we don't even know.
I did visit there, spent a couple of hours with the neighbors on Saturday. I went back last night, I was very disturbed after Saturday. I perseverated on that area all weekend.
That's why I went, because she called
And then
me.
I dragged my husband down there last night to kind of look at it again. Have you talked to the neighbors at all? Have you
We,
met?
This one, I mean, the neighbors that I see and meet, I mean, I haven't had any.
and my office has tried to reach out to all of the neighbors and unsuccessfully, so.
Because they're not feeling that, at least the ones I talked to. And granted,
Oh,
I
I was going to
didn't,
say that.
I didn't speak with all of them, but
Sure.
I think a good representation. I met with people who are third-generation landowners, second-generation, new owners, a family who's been there less than a year. But they're a very close-knit neighborhood. They're bought into this ideal of, it's a very small, narrow road, one car passing, gravelled. They're not having cars peeling out and making noise, driving up and down. They listen to the birds and the geese and the frogs. And they're aware that that property was on the market, could be sold, could be built on, and they're not opposed to that. They're opposed to their way of life changing. They're opposed to the wetlands being disturbed. They feel that they have been already. They're opposed to the runoff. There is a property across the street, directly across the street, and it's downhill right to Sorty Pond. So they've had to put in stone in their driveway, and they have a roadway right down to the water because it's running off. And we're in a drought this summer. There's no water, so like any water we're seeing is so minuscule. At some point, the rain will come again, and there will be flooding. They had to point out to me where the streams run through, because they do run through, they run under the road to the other side, to the Sorty Pond side. And you can see it, it's damp, there's no bubbling water running, but it will. But it will, and they want to ensure that trees are not coming down, and they're hearing this, and I was there for 2 hours and heard the trees being bulldozed down, or whatever, the sawing down, for the 2 hours I was there, and I understand that goes on all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
There's a hole about this big on on the town's property, where you
On
can
the alleged town's
Oh,
property?
well, the alleged town property, where you can see the whole tree that was removed. It's huge, it's huge, and that's where the water is going, it's right near that property.
Yeah, no, that's certainly a problem.
So these are really concerns, environmental, ecological. There's painted turtles that are an endangered species. Roger Williams Zoo has a painted turtle exhibit because they want to protect these animals, salamanders, and they're finding dead animals on their property. So there's some changes that have occurred as some of the trees are cutting down. I don't know if it's changes in the water, but the water flow is definitely going to be different with the trees not there. There's erosion and chemicals or whatnot getting into the water stream, getting into Sorty Pond, which is not just pleasure for them and wildlife. That's part of the North Watuppa Pond that feeds it's the water supply for Fall River. So it's been in my head since Saturday morning when I met all of these people, and I think they just want to protect where they've lived, where their parents have lived, where their grandparents have lived, where they've grown up.
I totally understand and concur with all you. I apologize, I thought that this approval from the DEM was an approval.
And
All right, okay.
and the vernal
Please don't
pools,
talk to the
it was like,
It's just gonna,
I was like on a field trip Saturday. I learned about vernal pools and more about animals and water and erosion than I had ever known. So I just want to help them protect their neighborhood, their homes, their. So,
Jay, I'm going to open the public hearing, but you wanted to say something, Jay?
Just one question.
Microphone, Jake, microphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. When you notified abutters, when you notified the abutters,
What, I'm sorry, when did he notify the abutters?
Yes, notified.
when you
Yes.
did you include the Fall River abutters?
No, we didn't,
Why not?
because we weren't petitioning to abandon that portion.
The reason you notify abutters is so that those people are going to be impacted.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter what state they live in. It doesn't matter how it impacts them. They are impacted and they should have been notified.
No,
No,
no.
legally,
they're saying
no.
Why?
Because we're not abandoning the road in Fall River. We can't abandon the road that we don't own. So the only people that need to be notified are direct abutters to the roadway that's to be abandoned
Physical
in our
abutters.
community.
Physical.
That's the physical, that's what the statute, that's
Yeah.
what the statute requires, that's what the applicant complied with. So there is no question in my mind that the people who got notice under this statute, the notice was correct. So there's no requirement for going outside of the jurisdiction, basically.
we were
Mike
thinking
checked
of,
on that.
we were thinking of variance for zoning, which is 200 feet of the property, and this is physical abutment of the paper roads.
All the abutters though are Tiverton and Fall River, because we do pay taxes.
Well,
No,
yeah,
but you're not abutting the road.
you have to abut the roadway,
You
so.
have to
The
abut
the
road.
paper road.
You have to be
I'm
right
in
there.
error,
I
but-
named it.
With-
All right, everybody, I didn't open the public hearing yet.
With,
I know this can get out of control, and I'm really hoping it doesn't. And like I said, we're going to continue this anyway. I'll let some of you speak. I'm going to open the public hearing now. Kristen,
Thank you.
just introduce yourself and your
Oh,
address.
sorry, Kristen Tardy, 127 Saudi Pond Avenue, Tiverton. I attended the planning board meeting, not realizing, or myself and my husband, Mark, we attended the planning board meeting, not realizing that we weren't supposed to be allowed to speak, but they were generous enough to let us because we sat through so long of a process about the seasons that they're trying to put up on Main Road. And it appeared then that there was an awful lot of information that hadn't been provided. We have done as a neighborhood, as an entire neighborhood, including all the Fall River people, because a lot of them are, like you said, third-generation families that, grandparents, whatever. We've all done a lot of research and found quite a bit of information. Unfortunately, with there not being a current survey, there's no markings for us to know exactly where the land lines are, where the legal, if you will. So we have only to go by the maps that we've gotten either from the town hall website or, found ourselves. We've also found, though, quite a few deeds that do mention Harrington and Patrick Avenue. If you would like copies of those, we have them with us at this point.
You have them? Yeah, we got them.
So I'm gonna need Ann to bring those over, because she was lucky enough, because her grandparents were the ones who originally set this up. I happen to be an abutter to the property and have huge concerns because of the marshland and the wetland that is over there, and how this could very adversely affect my well that's been there since 1964 or 5. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact time that well was put in. But am I gonna have to build a new well to accommodate someone else? I don't think I should have to. But again, there's a lot going on down there, which is why we contacted you all and asked you to please come and see the area, because pretty much nobody goes down there unless they either live there or they know somebody who does. So there's really no other reason for them to be down there. So that's why we asked you all to come out and see the area, actually view it, and understand what's happening down there, the way the land is set up, the way many of us, I shouldn't say most of us, but many of us do pay taxes to both Tiverton and Fall River, because the line goes right through our yards, which doesn't really show well on the map, because it's just whited out, if you will.
Yeah.
But there's an awful lot that, like spotted salamanders, painted turtles, we have them. We know we do. They're in that marsh. and they are on the endangered species list. We did the research. We've done a lot of research, and we found a lot of information. But what bothered us the most is we go by that property, Mr. Vavona's property, and don't see even one building permit out there. We understand from the town, I did call myself and spoke to somebody, I believe his name was Joe, from the building board. Zoning. And he did say that a temporary electric, permit, thank you, thank you, was pulled. But it's not shown anywhere. My understanding is that's all supposed to be right out there for everybody to see. All this construction that's already going on, and I say construction because part of construction is removing trees, rocks, changing the level of the land, whatever you want to call it, all being done with no permits. And when we realized that Patrick Avenue had been opened up, I'm very sorry, but my blood pressure right now is going through the roof because that drives me out of my mind. That's not okay. And a lot of the work is only being done on the weekends. Nothing during the week when you would think a town council member or someone from the building or planning board might drive by.
I don't know if I drive by there, though.
Yeah, I know, the road's pretty rough. But these are our major concerns here. These are, again, like you said, this is a very close-knit community. We've all grown up in the area for the most part. And to see that this is being done the way it's being done, we're not trying to stop anybody from building a house on the property. We want it done right. We want it to not affect the wetlands or the woods, the animals that we all have coming through our yards every day, whether they're endangered or not. Or the pond, especially the pond. Saudy Pond is a direct water provider to the Watuppa, which is Fall River's drinking water supply. And the last thing we need is for that to get completely polluted because silt barriers weren't even put up originally. The only silt barriers we can see are from the big open lot, and they're completely open. They're not even blocking anything. And again, the oil or whatever it is, I don't know, hydraulic fluid, oil, I know it's bad for the environment, whatever it's called. I know it is. And to have buckets of it just sitting on the side of a big metal storage unit, just sitting there for days, it's not okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a little addition. I heard talk about...
Just introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Just-
her husband, Mark Tardy,
Okay.
127 Saudy Pond Avenue, Tiverton. I heard talk about surveying being done, okays from DEM. That was one other thing I heard. I haven't seen any of this. We spoke to some of the members of the council. They weren't sure.
No, we haven't.
So the applicant submitted, the applicant submitted to us, the town council, a survey of an approved ISDS system, which shows the location of the proposed ISDS, and I guess it must flag some of the wetlands as part of that.
It does, and I'm happy to pass out
Yeah.
the copies. There's 10 or 11 copies here. If you'd like.
Mike, you mean this?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Mike.
He's talking about this.
Thank you.
No problem.
So that's the only thing, that was just submitted as part of the
That's the-
application.
That's just what I was looking for. I mean, DEM, when we called them, they were clueless. Both Mass and Rhode Island, neither one of them knew. Now, you were talking about abutters being told about this. I know they're from Massachusetts, but they're on the other side of a dirt road. They're still abutters, and this stuff is running off into their property, their wells. So, I mean...
But they're not on the other side of Patrick or Harrington. That's what it has to be.
They're abutters of the property, but not of the paper roads.
They have to be the abutters of the paper, which I didn't understand.
I didn't
until
understand that either.
last night.
They have to physically be
They
abutting.
physically have to touch where the alleged roadway is.
All right, that's...
That explains it to us, too.
It explained
We're
it to
quite
me,
aware
too.
of
What's
that.
your address, sir? Okay, he said he does. What is it?
Yeah, well, I used to live at 216 Saudy Pond Avenue for 47 years.
But where do you live
Where do you live now?
I live at Block Lane, Tiverton?
Yeah, 13.
13 lot plan.
Yeah, you got, notice was sent to,
I just got the notice, but I got the notice the first time, but it didn't say about coming.
well, there was only one notice sent by the town.
Yeah, the meeting that we had previously,
The other one, yeah.
no, the meeting we had previously was just to schedule this hearing.
Correct.
It may have been noticed from our office originally, way
Okay.
back when, that this
Okay.
is something we were
Okay.
interested in doing. It may have been
I
that.
didn't know I wasn't
Okay.
even supposed to be there. The other thing, my property that I still own there is lot, it's a vacant lot. And it right abuts his land, which he's torn trees. I'm not sure that,
What lot do you own?
uh,
Can someone in the audience
right
help me?
across from, right
He's
across
just
from
prior,
260.
he's right on the side of
Kristen.
the black, no, he's not near Kristen.
Right
Next to
abuts his-
247, it butts my property.
Yeah. So I
It's,
know-
it's right with, it's right where the black
All
black
right, it's
plastic is.
177.
You're right near the black
Oh,
plastic.
yeah, okay.
That property there.
It's that little
But
piece.
well, he's clearing his land, yeah. I don't know, my son lives there. He called me and said he's putting trees, or taking trees off your property.
And it's right on the
I'm
side of that
disabled. I can't
black.
walk in the woods anymore. I can't get in there. He doesn't on weekends anyways. But my property goes right up to Harrington Avenue.
Yeah.
And you got notice.
And I was never notified, never asked if, about
You were though.
planning things,
You were noticed for this hearing. You got the notice for this hearing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
that's
that's-
all you had to be noticed.
That's the only legal requirement that they have to notice for this hearing.
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and just with respect to that lot, is next to abuts not Mr. Vavona's property, although I do understand that there's likely been clearing there as well, but
Well, it does abut.
It does
It
abut
does
it.
abut his property, absolutely.
no, I
I
think it's, I was under the
had that
impression
land
that,
surveyed, there's a bloody stream underneath that property.
177.
That's a wetland.
I thought we were talking about lot 174.
No.
Oh, okay,
And I
lot
got it all
177?
plotted out Where the wetlands are.
Okay.
It's at
Oh,
the
it is
bottom of
177.
Harrington.
Yeah,
It's at the bottom of Harrington. 177. Oh,
so there
174.
certainly may have been, it sounds
Oh.
like part of the
Okay.
alleged public way may have been inappropriately cleared. I mean, we'll certainly find out when DEM comes. But at least with respect to 174, I do think that would be the owner of lot 175 that there might be
Yeah, and
an
that-
issue with. But at the end of the day, our intent is not to, I mean, we can't build in the wetland. These are things we can't do regardless of whether or not the road is abandoned. And I think, what we really, and this is a useful hearing as well, because what we really want to do is share the plans and what Vincent is looking to do with everyone. And this has been a useful forum to that end. Ultimately, if mistakes have been made by Mr. Vavona in the past month with clearing, I'm certain those will stop now. But we do want to ultimately build this in the appropriate fashion, so.
Just to say, the only reason I go there on Saturdays is because I do this. The soap, you can't really put
Go ahead.
putting a soap fence up, you can't do it while you're clearing the trees. After you do the trees, then you do the soap. And this is, the process I've learned from other people that, I do business with, and
But they're talking about lot
which
175.
is
That's
on the
not
other end.
yours.
Yes, I know.
No,
And a lot of
that,
this is coming from
that's-
175. where
we
they did the
found out that
gravel
that's
road
owned
and
by New
everything.
England Business and Investment of Dartmouth, Mass. That's what you showed me where the silk was separated.
Right.
And then I know exactly what land you own, because there are trees cut from that land. But that's,
Property markers on my property.
right, but that
All
is
the way
the
up to
other, that's the other owner that's doing whatever he's doing there. Where the,
No.
And if I
yes,
can,
there's two lots, so that front lot, and you abut that front lot, right there. That is not owned by Mr. Viona.
yeah, we can pass.
Okay.
This is probably a better,
Yeah.
Pass it out.
It's not his.
probably a better picture
the other
for
three
you
are.
guys to see.
Right, if you'd like to pass that out. So
Okay. All right, this is getting out of control.
I do appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to let a couple more speak, but like I said, this will be continued. And if you're coming up, like, we get the point, everyone. So if you have something new to shed on this, I appreciate it. But you will have opportunity to talk again when this happens. Go ahead.
My name's Ann Lawrence. My maiden name is Mitchell. That was my mom. Her maiden name is Harrington. Patrick Harrington is my grandfather. Patrick Harrington owned all that land. When he did the plots, those lots were 4 of his children, were each going and got a lot. Eventually, 3, my mother bought out the other 3. But when they did it, my grandfather knew it was wetlands back there. And one of the purposes of putting Patrick and Harrington Avenue in there is to leave a buffer so that if anything did get cleared, those 35 feet of road that is trees and whatnot wouldn't be touched so that the wetlands wouldn't run down and the animals wouldn't die. And he did that in 1938. And somebody years ago, after my mom had to sell it for personal reasons in the 80s, somebody tried to build on it then, coming in from Crandall Road. He was shut down because of the wetlands. Somebody else tried to build on it back in the same place that you're trying. They were shut down because it's wetlands. So how can 3 other people be shut down and told they can't touch any of that land back there, and all of a sudden now, oh, you can? It makes no sense. It was never supposed to be.
So whether or not the applicant can build on wetlands, that's not us. That's,
No,
that's DEM.
DEM and the Conservation Society,
right.
which will be down this week,
So
hopefully.
DEM, so that's, they regulate where someone can build. Now, I will tell you, since the 80s, DEM regulations about building on wetlands have changed drastically since 1980.
It's just
So-
with
so
all
I'm
the
just-
wildlife.
So I'm just letting you know that,
Right,
so that's a
and-
regulatory scheme that we have nothing to do with at the town.
And I understand that, but those paper streets were put there for a purpose.
Well,
And they are on people's deeds. My grandfather sold
understand.
every lot on that road, and I have all the original deeds, which I've given you some, which show Patrick Avenue and Harrington Avenue on those deeds of the
Right.
people that bought that land. And 90% of the people that bought those lots that I've given to you, we're all descendants of. They have not left the family. They're still in the same families as they were when my grandfather sold the lots and split it up in the 30s, 40s. So, and like I said, he did it with a purpose. And for 100 years, that land hasn't been touched. And to have those roads and everything destructed, like I said, we're not trying to stop him from building a house. He bought the land, he wants to build a house. Our concern is Kristen's well is very close to where he's cleaning right now. He's clearing, Kristen has a stream 10 feet behind her well, where it feeds her well. And he's clearing not far from behind there. And that's going to affect her well as, other people's, and the runoff's going into the pond. That pond used to be drinking water. That pond used to be that clean. And it's still pretty clean. Occasionally, we do get algae and things like that, but the water is still pretty clean. And we just want to keep it that way. We've grown up there. That neighborhood is all of our homes. It's our families. It's our grandparents, our parents, our kids, grandkids. Nobody else has ever lived there, and we're very close, we're very tight-knit, and we just want to protect what we've protected and our family's protected for all these years. He can build a house, but the paper streets are there for a purpose, or they were there for a purpose, and it's just wrong. I don't know what else to say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Well, we have a couple of questions, clarifying questions too, if we could, just because, Hugo Lalo, Diana.
Hi.
We're not abutters, we're actually directly across from 175, which unfortunately we did not know was not Mr. Fontaine's until.
Oh, I know where you live.
Vaughners, Fontaine's.
That's where all the water's going.
That's where all the water will
Where the water,
actually go.
All right.
And so, I guess to piggyback on that concern, on the environmental concern, and I know that that's an issue for Rhode Island DEM, it's just these issues obviously overlap. These concerns overlap. And, we will eventually, from wherever the water is going to come from, wherever there will be erosion, it will absolutely impact our property. It impacts our property right now, when you get like a moderate rain, like we can tell that our driveway gets flooded. And it doesn't take very much for that water to go right into our backyard. We've got a good chunk of the pond right behind us. And it doesn't take very much for that water to get back there. I have been, and so have other people in the community, been in contact with the Rhode Island DEM. And I guess our concern was, since we hadn't seen, as you heard before, we hadn't seen permits posted up. My question to Rhode Island DEM was specifically, and this is using the language that they use on one of their permits. I asked if there was evidence of a notice of start of construction, which is a specific permit Rhode Island DEM has provided to Rhode Island DEM by Mr. Vivona, and the response that I received was that there is a Office of Water Resources permit, just for however many gallons he can use per day. And that is so far the only document that was provided. So I don't know if I spoke to the wrong person, or if that's the only permit that was obtained from Rhode Island DEM, and that is a serious issue.
That's for a well, isn't it?
It is for a well, yeah, and that is a serious issue considering the amount of wetland space that has already been cleared and not been approved by Rhode Island DEM. So that's, just to kind of bring that.
It's not a well, it's
And
septic.
I think again,
Or septic.
It's septic.
Septic, but regardless.
you're across from the previous
Right.
Fontaine
Yeah, but
property.
also,
But
she's affected by Patrick
Certainly,
Avenue
certainly.
that's
Uh-huh.
being dug up.
Yep, no.
Yeah, she's also very much affected by that.
Yep.
And
And then there is no, I mean, from what we've noticed, construction equipment has been happening on, of course, that Fontaine lot. And it looks like there's a path that almost goes back towards some of these other lots by Harrington and Patrick. Are they, there's no association between these lots and Mr. Fontaine
any
at
way.
all?
Not that we're aware of.
No, but that clearing is Harrington, we believe.
Okay,
Correct.
yes.
It
Correct.
goes up that way, and then there's clearing
Yes.
that goes this.
Yeah, right at the
Yes.
back of 175
Yes.
there, there's
Yeah,
that
exactly.
clearing that looks like it's been,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, yeah, just wanted to bring that to your.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna close the hearing. Oh, come on. I didn't see you over there.
No, we didn't see you,
I
Peter. You
really
didn't recognize
see you,
yourself,
Peter.
okay?
I'm watching everyone over there.
It's okay. Name is Peter Monis, 83 Captain Circle, Tiverton. We're talking about agenda item 6D, correct?
Yes.
I would like to hear the status of D1, the planning board recommendation. I'd like to see this covered and get into the record tonight.
It is already at the last
I
meeting.
want to hear what the recommendation is. It's on the agenda.
Right, but it.
So it's on the agenda, you should cover
All right,
it.
Peter, the planning board recommendation is to accept the,
To accept the abandonment of the
to
roads.
accept the abandonment, but that was already discussed. This is a
That's
continuation.
okay. I just want to hear it tonight for the record.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay, I'll
Oh,
close the hearing.
wait, one more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. He was
I'm not
indecisive.
positive, but I was never informed, and I think I'm on a butter.
Your name, please?
Eli Del Valle at 117 Salty Pond. I think I'm 178, maybe. I'm at. I think I'm in a butter
Yeah,
at
178.
Harrington Avenue.
You're not, no, you're not in a
Harrington-
butter.
Harrington.
Yeah, it's right there. It's-
178, yes. is it?
Yes, I
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
I am, but I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't abut either one of the roads. You're in the
Yeah,
middle
absolutely.
between them.
I don't butt the paper roads
No.
No,
because I was never informed of any of this. That's what I was.
no, yeah, no. You don't abut those paper roads,
All right, just checking.
as far as I can tell, right?
But thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, and.
Yeah.
I was never informed in just that, and I just, like you said,
Well,
I
I'm
don't
sure the
care that the guys
neighborhood-
build a house, but I do care if you follow the rules, because it almost seems like the guy building a shed without getting a permit, so as long as it's done, then everyone's just gonna say, screw it, it's already up.
Don't worry.
I just don't wanna see that happen either, like, it's a race against time. If I can build before anyone notices, then I win. You know what I mean? Everyone's gotta,
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So,
no one beats the credit card company. in
I,
a sense.
I think we've noticed, though.
so let me,
Yeah.
I think we've noticed.
so just let me clarify again. So the people who actually have to get actual physical notice in the mail from the town are people who directly abut the roadways, proposed roadways that are to be abandoned. However, the town is also required to give 3 weeks, consecutive weeks of newspaper notice, which is general notice of this is going to happen, and that was also done. So there are two forms of notices. One is general to the general public, and number two is to the actual abutters. So that's, so I believe we met our requirements for both, and so that's why the people that actually got letters, and the people who didn't. So I think we've met those requirements, so that's not an issue. Based upon what I've heard today, and I'm speaking out of turn, I would strongly recommend that Mr. Monti and your client meet with some of the neighbors to get a better idea of what the plans are going to be, because I think there's still a lot of misinformation as to where the house is going to be located, what your intention is and whatnot. So that would be a recommendation before you come back to a public hearing. So, but that would be my recommendation as a legal counsel to the town.
So, from the last meeting, the issue still hasn't been resolved as to landlocking lot 234 and 237. That needs to be resolved somewhere down the road here. You can't abandon this road and leave these people with no access.
And again, we're totally, we just did the more inclusive approach.
No, I know, I get that,
Yep,
but
so, yep, I understand.
They may not be here, I'm just speaking on their behalf at this point, that
Right, but there was a discussion that we'd stop it at 180.
Right, so we asked the applicant to advertise the entire road.
Yes.
Because if we didn't advertise the entire road, we wouldn't be able to cut it off. So you can't expand it, an abandonment, you can only take away, so that's why we did. So that's why.
I just don't want it to be.
That is a legitimate issue that I think was even flagged by the planning board, that we didn't want to landlock 234 and 174, so.
Mike?
Do you want to close the public hearing?
I think, does anyone else want to speak? Someone, no, you're all set.
No, he actually brought up the question.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, he read your mind. All right, I'd like to close the public hearing.
No, extend.
No, continue.
Yeah.
The public hearing
30 days.
to a 30-day, at least.
I think so, yeah.
So
We want to
September,
make sure, we want to make sure that DEM
do
has
you want to
had
do it in October then?
time to come out.
Want to do September 28th again? Okay. It's going to be a busy meeting again.
I move we continue the public hearing until September 28th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made in second. Any further discussion or questions?
I just
Is there-
well, not on the public hearing, but,
Do you want to ask before I take a vote?
yeah, I just want to make a comment.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, thank you, Michael. You echoed what I was going to suggest is, try to have a meeting of the minds, if you will. I appreciate everybody's input. The emails that you provided us they were all very helpful information. I didn't get out and put my boots on down there. I did drive around. So I did see some of the things that were identified. But I also want to appreciate that you sat here and you listened. You didn't yell and scream. You really took in, from what I can see from your face, you took in the feedback, whether you liked it or not, you heard it. So I appreciate that, and that's all.
Yeah, and I'm happy to speak with anyone, and Mr. Vivona bought this property because he wants to live in the woods. So it's not his intent to, tear everything down. So look forward to speaking with you.
All right, so I have
I
have to vote on.
Can we do any relief, like legally, do we have anything we can do so that until we get DEM's
Like a cease and
approval?
desist on
Like,
cutting.
yeah, can we do anything like that? We can do it for Patrick and Harrington, right?
We don't know because we don't know if we
Well,
own
it-
it.
Not certainly own it.
Okay.
So let me just make it very clear, because this comes up a lot. The landowner has the right to clear his land.
His land.
Without a permit.
As long as it's not wetlands.
As long as it's not wetlands, with a permit, without a permit from the town.
Correct.
So anybody can, if you own a piece of land in Tiverton, you can clear it without a permit from the town, unless it encroaches on wetlands. So there's nothing the town can do on that. And every landowner has that right. We do have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So there is, if
Unless-
anything more than 100 by 100, you still need a DEM permit for RIPTs.
Right.
So you can clear, but it's anything under 100 by 100.
Right.
Right. And they enforce that. We don't enforce that.
We don't enforce that.
So, and that looks like there'll be some visit by DEM out there. So that's where we are. We
But I
do-
think what Deb's concerned about is the clearing of Harrington and Patrick.
Yeah, I would just recommend, Mr. Monty, that until we determine the ownership of that, you know.
All
please-
activity
All
will
activity on
stop.
those areas, please stop until we determine the areas. And we're just asking that as a good faith effort on your part.
Just from a personal thing, it's such a nice neighborhood, just be nice
I
and,
agree 100%, and that's kind of why I wanted to move there. I have no intentions on polluting anything or disturbing anything, and actually I've done the minimal amount of clearing that I can with the size of the house, and it's on the plan. It's just a little bit of Harrington that I did do wrong. I didn't touch any of Patrick, actually, but regardless, I don't want to do anything.
that's
wrong.
over, it's over 6 acres of
You
land.
did touch
Like, that's,
Patrick, I think.
No, I don't think I did.
Oh, yeah.
Is where you went in.
Patrick is where I entered.
That's Patrick Avenue.
That's Patrick Avenue. That's all cleared. You cleared
Where you
Patrick.
put your dumpster the other day.
Yes.
That's Patrick Avenue.
That's, yes.
Storage unit, the big orange metal building. That's
That's Patrick Avenue, because we followed it all the way back.
No, actually, Patrick
We're
is,
very, very
Patrick
close.
is
On the-
between the two properties.
Patrick is on the side of the Deborah Fontaine, the New
Right.
England Business Investment.
Right.
That is cleared.
No, that's from his side.
So I think it
See, this
it
is-
may
this is
be
where it's getting kind of
cleared. It may have
confusing.
been cleared by the other individual, or
Okay, it's Harrington, I'm sorry. I mean, no.
It was
No.
part of Harrington that I
It's
did.
Patrick.
And I-
All right,
either
well,
way,
anyway,
we're
it
gonna
doesn't matter. It
make
doesn't
sure
matter.
Mr. Vavona does
All right.
not clear any
All right.
more of that area.
All right, so I
If
have a
he did
vote.
clear it.
I have a vote, a motion and a second. All those in favor of continuing? Okay, September
very much.
28th. All right, and I'm gonna just take a couple of minutes so the room can clear, and we don't have a lot more to go, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, take it outside. Thank you. It's really nice out there. I was just out there. Where's the police chief? He's hiding. No, we don't need you. Yeah. All right, we're on 7, zoning board of review, 7-member board, 5-year term, 1 vacancy. John J. Jackson, 24 Bourne Avenue, request reappointment, term ending 7/15/2027. I was just informed by the clerks that Mr. Jackson will not be coming to a town council meeting. He's refusing. He said that he's been on there for 35 years. He does not feel he needs to be interviewed. And if we don't want to appoint him, that's fine, but he's not coming. So.
I'm sorry, that's not fair to everybody else that has to come.
Right, and I don't know Mr. Jack, I know of him, but,
That's not okay.
so we're gonna take, if it's okay with you, guys, we're taking Mr. Jackson off.
If that's the way he-
I mean, it's a shame, Mr. Jackson's given a lot of
It
time
is a shame.
and
He's-
effort,
Yeah,
and he's
he's
good.
not complying with what we would like.
I appreciate what he's done for the town. At the same time, we need to treat everybody the same.
Okay. All right, Juvenile Hearing Board, Dr. Bonita J. Cade, 12 Antelope Highway, request appointment, term ending 7/15/2024. There's 2 alternates, 3-year term, 1 vacancy. We didn't interview you before? No, okay. Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would like to be on the board.
I'm a psychologist and a lawyer. I'm a professor at Rhode Island University. I sit on both the parole board and the sexual offender board of review right now. I am interested in becoming involved, and if there is some way of making a useful input for the young people, I'd really like to do it, because by the time they get to see us at the parole board, it's kind of late. And if there's anything I can do to be positive to help things along, I'd like to.
Thank you. Any questions for the doctor?
I have comments. Your resume is so impressive.
I'm old.
It's still impressive.
It's still very impressive.
You might be
and-
old, but you're impressive,
Yeah,
okay?
it really is. And I think that your thought process, trying to get people before it becomes a problem, because we definitely see the problems that occur as we push issues down the road and don't address them at the younger ages. So I think that's what we all want for our young people and for the board. So to have somebody with so much skill and knowledge base to be able to draw from, I think is a very big plus for this board. So I was very excited to read your information.
Michael?
Oh, I think Donna was going to
Oh,
say something.
Donna, sorry.
Yes, thank you for coming forward with this. I was on the hearing board for a short time. I found it very interesting. There's not always a meeting, and that's a good thing. That means that maybe a child's not having a problem. So there's not always a meeting.
Okay.
So, but when there is, it's usually an officer that's in charge of that, and he calls the meeting that, they're going to have this intervention type of thing to, try to get the child on track rather than having it go the other way. And what I found is the parents were very concerned. They've been trying really hard, and a lot of times the child's just not listening. I also found that you probably know that they just don't see the future.
No.
And it's quite incredible to see.
Yeah.
They only see this, and they're not seeing what the damage they're doing for it all. So I found that, and it was just so there for me. And I'm not a doctor or anything, but I was like, just a regular person. I was like, oh my goodness, But yeah, we need people like you. Thank you so much for stepping forward.
Michael?
So I too want to echo, my day job, I work for DCYF, so I'm very familiar with the work that you do. I have also worked with members of the parole board, and Peter Sloan, I believe, is one of your colleagues there, and the late Ken Walker, who was a wonderful chair of that board. So what you bring to the hearing board is going to add tremendous value. Certainly I know how much it helps to catch things when they're small. And we want to avoid as many kids as we can coming into our system as well as into the adult system. So thank you for putting your name forward.
So the first step is to waive our policy.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? I'd like to
Thank you.
entertain a motion. Well, we have to entertain a motion.
Waive it.
So moved.
Second.
So the motion is to appoint Dr. Benita Cade to the Juvenile Hearing Board, term ending 10/15/2024. I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. So
Thank
much.
you.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love volunteers like you. General business, Michelle Silva, request ordinance to allow resident stickers for parking from Bottom Street to Bay Street on Canonicus and Hooper. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So I guess this went in front of you, all of you, September of 2021. We were not, anyone in the neighborhood, aware of this. My husband was approached by Lieutenant Raymond, who we know we're friends with, he coached his children, and he had stopped by my house and said that there was no parking, because there's a new sign at the bottom of Canonicus Street, and it just says no parking with an arrow. Doesn't say where, when, anything else. He said it was from Canonicus to Bottom. We park in front of our home. We've lived there for 20 years. All of our neighbors have parked in front of their house for 20 years. He said we would be ticketed and could be towed with this. No one was notified of this new amendment. I came down after my husband spoke to Dan. I came down, spoke with Joan, who was very helpful with me, gave me the notes and some other information. And then as I was down here, which was funny, there was other people who worked for the city, the clerk's office, whose streets were on there and didn't know that they couldn't park in their road. So I have a twofold, one that a lot of people don't know this, but also if it was petitioned, no one in our neighborhood was petitioned for this, because I was told that it was a petition. I spoke to my neighbors, no one signed a petition to have no parking. And it's such an odd restriction. It's from Canonicus to Bottom, from Hooper to,
Hooper, yeah, it's
Hooper
Hooper.
Street, Bay Street,
Right, and then-
intersection of Bottom.
Right, which is odd, because the top of Canonicus, someone else, I spoke to another neighbor who spoke to, he said a council member, and they said it was a police and fire issue, which is funny if you've ever come down Canonicus Street. The top of Canonicus is more of a hazard than the bottom of Canonicus.
That's not what it was, though.
So I believe, and I could be wrong, I know there's a lot of people who come from over the state line or other areas to go fishing down on that area. I've called multiple times because they park in front of my streets. So if there is a parking restriction, which I find it odd that there's a total parking restriction at all times, what I would like an amendment to make is, as Stone Bridge has, when I go running there, I notice that there is residential parking. So I would like us, as residents, to give us a town resident sticker or resident parking only, so then you know if someone's parked it that does not have it, then they can be ticketed and towed. We have never, 20 years I've lived here, and I've been through a lot with this town in the 20 years I've lived in that certain area, and I've never once had an issue with my parking. I have 4 kids who come and visit me. I own multiple vehicles, my children own multiple vehicles, my husband. We have never had an issue with us parking on a road in front of our home that I pay taxes on. My neighbor has people come and she's parked in front of her house, and we've never, or in front of my house, I've never had an issue with them parking. John Christo, who lives there, God, he's lived there longer, God, I don't even know, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. he's parked in front of his house. I mean, I've spoke to multiple neighbors, except for one who I will not speak with, but other than that, we've had no issues. So I know why we're doing it, but
We
there-
are doing it because of the complaints we were getting.
Right.
From what was going on down there.
Right.
And people parking there, going fishing, throwing trash down there. A lot of people complained about it.
And I figured that was, that, but then I
Correct me
was
if I'm wrong.
concerned
Am I
because
right?
it said,
What
you know,
year
the Police
was that?
Department of Public Works.
We just did that.
That's right.
It was, yeah, September 27th, 2021 is when
Yeah,
you guys
we just did
had
it.
this amendment. So what I'm asking then, if you're gonna, for that reason, I understand, then grant us where we are having, that we have resident parking, that we are
But
allowed to
resident
park,
parking would just be you and your husband.
and anyone who lives in my home. Or anyone who
Correct.
has their, right. But-
As long as they're living
but I
in
mean,
your home.
But it's either that or just give us a Tiverton resident, anyone who lives in Tiverton, because it's crazy to me. I understand why you're doing what you're doing, because you're trying to stop that. But if we live there, we've paid taxes, and we've never had an issue in 20 years, because I know the one person that is complaining, and because of one person, I can bring everyone in my neighborhood.
It was more than one person.
Well,
What?
well, but we're punishing the wrong people. And the people that live there,
Right, and
We
I
shouldn't be.
agree with that, but there were multiple complaints. There were police issues there. This was recommended by the police department. The DPW went along with, I mean, this was vetted.
I don't
very
think there
much
was a
so.
petition signed, though.
There was no petition. There was several complaints.
So like I said, there was.
And the police were involved a lot.
Okay,
There was a
well, I can
petition?
tell you the 20 years for parking.
Signatures.
There was, I don't remember, it was years ago.
And so, yeah, so if there was a petition, like I said, I've spoke to both neighbors on Hooper and Canonicus, and no one was even aware of this until we told them or they found out. And
Well,
then
if
I
they're-
told them about the petition, they said they never signed the petition, so.
If there's a petition, it's public. It's public, you can see the petition.
Right, and, well, that's fine, but what I'm concerned about, as Joe just stated, that we're getting punished for what I've called the police several times on stuff that's happened down there.
And that's what this
But
was
this was
a
not-
reaction to that.
Right, and it's for the people who are fishing illegally, and they've done stuff to block it, then patrol it more, do something that someone not living there, but we're getting punished. If I park my vehicle, if my son's cleaning his truck and I park my vehicle outside of my house, I did the other day, and I left my vehicle, I woke up in the middle of the night worried that I was gonna get towed or ticketed. I shouldn't have to worry about that, I pay taxes here, I live here, I lived here for 20 years, I parked my car there, I've volunteered, I've been a part of this town for 20 years, an active participant in this town for 20 years. And so have many of my neighbors have been active participants, not just, saying this, that. We've participated in town sports, we've been on boards, we've been, active in our schools, but yet we're gonna get punished for people who come outside of our town, and now we're suffering, and no one's notified about this. I mean, all of a sudden, what if we came out of my car, wasn't there?
The signs are there, correct?
There's one sign at the bottom of my Connecticut Street that says no parking. That's all it says, with an arrow. So we don't know where it goes to. It says no parking with an arrow, and that's all there is. And the only reason I knew about it is, like I said, Dan Raymond stopped by and said hi to my
But
husband.
you live above where the arrow is?
I live 2 houses above from there. And I own 2 properties in
Chief
Tiverton on Connecticut
Jones?
Street.
Chief Jones?
And this just went up off the beginning of August. So
But
10 months after
I
you guys
understood
called.
it was only at the very bottom, correct?
I thought it was too.
So,
No, if you read, I have right here where it says, it gives the access point,
Yeah,
Connecticut
but-
Street from Bay Street to the intersection of Bottom is where no parking is. There is
Right.
only a no parking sign at the corner of Canonicus and Bay Street going up, or pointing up. That is it, on both sides. That's it.
okay.
But Bottom Street doesn't cross Hooper Street.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
yeah, Bottom Street.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
No,
Church.
it doesn't.
Church does.
It ends right at the park. It-
No, that's right.
It
Church
ends,
does.
yeah.
It doesn't connect.
It
Bottom Street
also-
connects to
it
Hooper?
crosses.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
it's church.
No, it
It's
doesn't.
church, he's right.
All right, so anyway,
My recommendation, if I may, I love the
That's
idea,
why
I think
you're
it's
here.
great.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would be, the whole purpose wasn't to penalize, obviously, the
Right.
residents there.
Well, it was to help the residents that kept complaining.
Correct.
Well, wait a minute.
Unintended
It might not have
consequences.
helped that you can't park there, but what we're trying to prevent is the nuisance that was going on down there.
Right, but that's not
So,
preventing them, that's
all right, well,
hurting
that's,
us.
but just listen, we didn't mean to hurt you. but we meant to stop the nuisance and all the stuff that was going on down there. In return, if we punished you, I apologize, and that's why we are here to hear this. But no one meant to punish you.
No, and I know you didn't, but.
And neighbors were calling. I got complaints at my house about it. And we had to do something. We had to try something.
Sure. I mean, the president is right, and you know, you folks know this, you live down there. There was a homeless encampment down there for a while. The people who go down there and they fish. It wasn't meant to harm you folks. It was meant to you
help.
can't come in an officer to walk half a mile in the dark to try and find these folks, but when they come out and their car's gone, they're gonna call us, one way or the other. So I love the idea. I think it's something that we can look at the ordinance, and I'll work with the town solicitor so we can just add it to the existing ordinance of Stonebridge.
So what I think we should do is refer this to the police chief and the town administrator and the solicitor. Is that all right?
Yeah, I would just recommend in the meantime, get a beach sticker put on your car, and we'll instruct the police officers not to ticket anybody with a town
No
sticker.
offense, Mr.
I know,
Parker,
I
I'm
know.
gonna have to pay $20 to
No,
park in my house.
No, we'll get your
Listen.
beach sticker, just until we get stickers made up. So,
If we give you a beach ticket, it's $10, but we give you a trash bag.
no, I wouldn't even do that. I would just give them
Okay.
stickers to get them.
So it's free. It's
Are your
free.
cars registered in Tiverton? Because the officers know, they can run the plate.
Yeah.
So I can go back and tell the officers, leave the residents alone.
But we'll get
Well,
some stickers
no,
made.
I
No, we'll
can't
just-
imagine that they wouldn't know you, man. So,
Can-
we can make this happen.
Can I just, how does that work in Stonebridge? Is it just for Stonebridge residents?
Yes.
It is
or-
during certain parts of the year during
Yeah.
the beaches
Yep.
in play, like till, I think it's till October 1st.
There's actual dates on the sign.
Right.
Yeah, May 1st to October.
Right, but it
I
just says
just
residents.
wouldn't want,
Yeah, it is a resident.
like, me to go and park in
just for
front of your
them? Yeah,
house.
or for any
And then
resident.
you can't park
No,
there.
only for
You know,
Stonebridge
just because
residents.
I'm a Tiverton resident.
No, it's only for the residents on the street.
Come to my house and visit me because there's no place for you to park.
Right.
But if we put it, no, I don't. But if we do a resident parking only, you,
What about people like my daughter, she lives. in
Do you have a
Milwaukee.
drive-
She comes to my house, she can't park, there's nowhere for her to park.
So there is a variance in here that says that we can,
One
we
guest.
can get a pass for
Yeah.
someone who's visiting.
Yeah, one pass.
So I would like that as well, like, so they can. And I know if we
Unless I
had,
personally complain about a car parked in front of my house, I don't think it should be a problem. At all.
No, well, all right, so we're going to refer this.
Work on the ordinance.
We're going to refer this.
be taking
The log cabin your brother used to
yes,
have,
someone was
isn't that Bottom
ticketed
Street?
yesterday or the day before.
So that runs to
Truck
who?
down the bottom of Canonicus.
Do you guys,
Bless
do
you.
all those properties have off-street parking of any kind?
Stop.
We have off-street parking, yes. I have, I mean, my driveway can fit a lot, but.
Do you have off-street parking?
Yeah, but
Do you have a
across the
driveway?
street
Yeah.
From Bay Street
But
up,
if we have friends that
That's
visit,
Hooper.
we pull my car out so they can park
Yeah.
in. But that's my thing, before this, without me not
They're
knowing,
doing Judson.
I would
That
have
is
been ticketed and towed, I would have come up and had no vehicle. So that's my issue. If Dan Raymond hadn't stopped by to check with my husband, we would have never known about this. So this was my thing, and that, we found out the signs went up at the beginning of August, and then when I got this, it said September 27th, you guys had voted on this. So it took, I know it was a while for signs to be made, but we wouldn't have been made aware of it. And there had been illegal signs put up, people have put no parking signs, even though it wasn't an ordinance, so they wouldn't. So of course, I would have ignored that, because I would have thought, okay, she just put up a sign because she puts them up.
Yeah. And Madam President, you're correct, there was a petition. Because I didn't see it.
I don't remember.
That was-
Joan's correct. I don't remember the petition.
and I was wrong. It does go to Hooper. I was thinking Judson, because the
Goes right
park
to
is
Hooper.
between,
Right,
right, it does go to Hooper, because the
All
log
right, so-
cabin is on Bottom Street.
So I'd like to
That's- yeah,
entertain a
that's my
motion
family,
to
yeah.
refer this to the police chief and the solicitor to get together and develop an ordinance.
Yes, ma'am.
Or add to the Stonebridge.
So moved.
Second.
Is there gonna be another hearing?
There'll be another meeting, yeah.
We will have to have a public hearing.
Yeah, we're gonna
on-
have, we're
Ma'am,
gonna have to have
ma'am,
a public
we're-
hearing and everything.
Right,
so-
and those are notified in the paper. We don't notify people individually about public hearings. Those are in the paper.
All right, since
For
I-
ordinances,
since
for
I brought it
ordinances.
forward, Would I be notified?
Yeah, we'll-
No.
No, so I just have to check.
We'll call you.
Just keep on checking the
All right, no comment.
It's on the
Keep
town,
quiet.
it's on the town website too. It's on the town website. And we meet every other week, so, all right.
thank you.
Oh, wait a minute, I didn't get it, so do,
So moved.
I already made a motion,
did you?
Jay seconded.
yeah, we just need to vote. All those in favor? Okay.
So moved.
Charlie and Lisa Rose, I knew that had to be you, I was trying to figure out which one you'd be. Petition to abandon undeveloped portion of Myrtle Way, discussion possible.
No, another one.
All right, this is not a good night for abandon.
Look yet. None of our neighbors in here, so it's good. The only one.
Oh, really, guys? You had to do this tonight? All right, go ahead. Talk to us.
So, as like, you guys have all these, right? You have all the colored ones that we have from the website of the, was it
We
GIS?
didn't get them in color.
Yeah, it's black and white color.
Oh, black and white color, yeah, we got it.
Okay, all right. So as you can see, we own 158.
Go ahead.
We own 158, 159, and 160.
Okay.
So what we're requesting is, it's 207.3 feet long, this paper road.
The Myrtle
And-
Way.
Yep, Myrtle Way, and 40 feet wide. So the property of the 160, that address is 0 Mayflower.
Okay.
We would like that part of Myrtle attached to 160. Attached to, yeah, if possible, if we are approved, to 0 Mayflower. As you can see at the end of the Myrtle, it is wetlands. The gentleman's address is Boogamosh Road, 1178 Boogamosh Road,
So you own 158 and 159.
and 160.
So how do you get,
So
the
there's no
paper
house
ro-
on 159?
No.
Correct, okay.
Yeah, no.
And there's
There-
no house on 160 right now either?
Correct, yeah.
where is there a house?
Oh, on 158.
158 only. Because looking on the GIS, 159 and 160 has partial wetland.
Yeah, I see it.
And the gentleman that owns 1178 Boogamosh Road, it's just his property, that majority of it abuts the end of that paper road.
What's
Oh.
the number again, I'm sorry?
What's that?
Can you give me that number again? The one you just said that-
1178 Boogamosh Road?
1178 Boogamosh.
So is that lot 166?
That is lot 166. In the plot is 217, or plat, however you guys pronounce it. Yeah, he's 166, and
So
then,
you really do only have one abutter?
yes,
Just one.
just one. And you can't count the middle school, that's behind us, so.
All right, I know exactly where you are now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it's four, 3 lots, and the street ends right there, in front of our house and across the way. There's nothing there except that one butter, and
So technically, though, I think the way it would get done is it doesn't go to one lot, it'll get split in half.
whatever was.
To the 158 and the 159?
To 160. Yeah, so.
160 is one whole lot.
No, the road, when it gets abandoned.
Oh, okay,
Half
I
of
see.
it goes to each side.
Half goes to each side.
Oh, I see.
That'd be fine, but as I said, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And.
We prefer one, but whatever it is, it is.
That little corner,
Yeah.
that's where everything stops, the snow plows, everything stops, and nothing.
But you own 158 and 159 too.
Yep.
Correct, yeah, and all
Does
of
it
them.
have to be split?
Yeah, that's what the law requires.
So it touches each.
Right. That's why we notify the actual
That's-
butters.
So we are the butters,
Right.
all except for one.
Because that gets added to your lot and you get taxed
Okay.
on that extra piece.
So all 3 lots would be taxed.
Correct.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
But you can use it, because they own it, they can
Correct.
split it up any way they want.
Well, eventually, but we just split it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so if
But
you,
if you were to change the lines, that's an administrative subdivision that you go through planning. but
Oh, okay.
Or the AO, but yeah.
oh, okay. So legally, like you said, it has to be, if it's approved, it has to be divvied up that way, then we can change it if we need
Yep,
to
you
or
can do
want to.
administrative subdivision.
Okay, okay, all
You
right.
can merge those lots, you can do a lot of different things.
Yeah,
We don't-
yeah.
we don't do that here.
Yeah, we did merge the 160 because it used to be 2 lots at
Okay,
one,
yeah,
at
that's
one
what
point.
it shows on the other map. It
Yeah,
shows two.
yeah, exactly. The original one from 1960 something. Yep, I see that. Yeah. So that's it. That's all we're requesting at this time.
So what what the request is really is to refer to the planning board.
Correct.
Okay. Do we have a vote, do we have a motion?
So, and then it has to come back to us for a
It'll
public
come
hearing?
back to us.
Okay.
I'll make
Just
it a
like
motion that we refer this to the planning board.
Second.
Motion been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? You were
Great.
quick tonight.
Quick and painless, huh?
You'll be back, though. You'll be back.
You'll be back.
With all your abutters.
Okay, so we just wait for it to be in the paper, or the planning board
Yeah, the
reaches out
planning
to
board
us?
is gonna have a hearing if
Okay.
you wanna go to that and speak at that, and you should.
Okay,
And then we will advertise for our meeting.
We have to wait for the planning board to give a recommendation before we advertise, and then we have to advertise for 3 weeks and give a butter notice, and then your hearing will be here again.
okay, so we'll be notified through the newspaper, correct, for the planning? Is
Um,
that notification next?
I think someone will contact you to be on the agenda, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds
I
good.
would recommend you go to the planning board, because if you made it this easy for us, it'll probably be easy for them to listen to what you have to say.
Okay, all right, excellent, all right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
When you get home, you can argue about it.
All the abutters. All right, Administrator Cotta.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night, too.
So the Public Utilities Commission, in its infinite wisdom, has decided that the infrastructure that needs improvement is gonna rip up Boogamosh Road, Braden Road, and Fish Road. They're gonna put duck banks in the road.
Right when school opens.
So, no, well, they wanted to start this week, and we deferred them at least till the 15th or the 18th of September. They still don't have right-out approval yet, so that's why nothing has really been published. What I gave you tonight, there was an extra document that is a map of what is actually causing this, and it's not the planning board's fault at all. It's the Brayton Road Solar. When they went to go get their permit to connect into the grid, National Grid or Rhode Island Energy and the Public Utilities Commission expedited a project that's coming to town, whether we like it or not. This is just phase one of it. So in order to connect, they didn't allow them to hang the lines up on the poles. They want duct banks on the ground. This project only takes one conduit. They're putting in 9. It's gonna, because it should be handling most of the things along these highways. So it's to help redistribute power, and it's to help mitigate some of the power losses that we have during storms. So this created a huge problem for us, because like I said, they wanted to start this coming week. And we met as a group, and a couple things as it relates to this project. And this will go up on the website as soon as RIDOT authorizes it, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna get approved. That, defer it until after school started, because doing this before school even starts with busing and parents, it was gonna be a nightmare. The other issue is allowing them to work beyond a 6 to 3 o'clock every day, because it'll take 8 to 9 months to do this. So we're allowing them to go as expeditiously as possible. They believe they can do 600 feet a day and get this thing done within 30 days. That'll get them out of everybody's hair. This won't be a problem for months on end. Obviously, the only drawback would be if we get extensive weather. That will delay it, but it's going to delay everything anyhow. And it would allow free movement of traffic on the weekends and holidays. But traffic will be regulated, so it's only police, fire, EMS services, and they are going to allow buses to go one way, and there'll be details on either side of where they're doing construction. But we're trying to get them by people's properties as fast as we can. It'll be a disruption for an evening or two, but then they're going to be going by you. Instead of, they can be, otherwise they'd be in front of your house for like a week, it's just untenable. So hopefully this all gets approved by RIDOT. They asked the town to grant permission. I did, as part of your package, I do believe there's a letter that we issued with some conditions for them to do. They've already met most of those conditions. The only thing they haven't done yet is to have a public forum, and they're waiting on RIDOT to approve the plan first before that comes out. And then Rhode Island Energy will have a public forum for the constituents in town to come and hear what it is they're proposing to do. And it'll be very similar to what I just, explained to you. So this is more informational than anything at this point. But obviously, Boogamosh Road was just done last year. So it's, but it'll be a brand-new road when they're done. All these roads will be brand-new from curb to curb.
Really
So,
going to do that as part of it?
As part of it, it'll be curb to curb.
So is anybody going to lose power during this?
No.
they're just putting it
No,
on.
so this is phase one of this project. Phase two will be, they don't have the wire yet. They've ordered the wire, and it might be a year before the wire comes in. And they'll redistribute it to, the reason why there's so many ducts is because they'll go to every pole, and they'll reconnect every house live. They'll do that
So a
fine.
year from now, there will be power
Yep.
interruptions, but not now.
No, I don't think there'll even be disruptions then. They'll just,
house by house.
yeah. But it'll be, the pole, only the pole, because you're already getting it from
Not the
off the
house,
pole.
right, 'cause
They don't go to
not
your house, it'll
Right.
just be to the pole.
Okay.
So it'll be, you won't even know it. They won't disrupt your power at all, from what I understand. So the other piece of this that we heard is this is only one phase of what's coming, that we'll be seeing a lot more of this in town over the next couple of years. Apparently, the West Bay has been doing it for quite a bit. Redoing a lot of Charleston area, the West Warwick area, the Warwick area. They've been doing a lot of this kind of issue as they're opening up roads, so.
You know, it is in the comp plan to do this, too.
I don't, it was kind of a shocker to us when they kind of asked us for permission right away to do this.
It's always been one of the action items to get critical services below ground, so here we go.
So Rhode Island Energy is upgrading some of their infrastructure as they're doing it to the distribution center. The distribution center here is just off of Fish Road, so. It's just an informational, so I wanted to bring up to date, and I will get this stuff all published on the website. And I will send you all an email if and when we find out the public information date, okay?
Okay. Any questions? All right. Councilor Cook, discussion possible vote regarding Code of Ordinance amendments to Chapter 42, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 2, open burning and to approve funds to advertise for public hearing on 9/28. That's going to be a busy 2022.
Presently, the burning ordinance is written, is difficult to enforce and has not been updated since 1967. There's been many problems with the way it's written. And of course, there's new, I won't call them appliances, but new type of chimeneas and various other things that people were not interested long ago. It's just new, where people want to sit around a fire. And what brought this to light was the problem that I had in my own neighborhood with a 10 to 12 foot fire with construction material at night. It was pretty scary, and it was kind of close to my house. And then with the help of the acting chief, we found that it was very inadequate. With a lot of his ideas, I sat down with Michael and with the acting chief, and we came up with a working draft. There's some things that need to be looked at that I told the acting chief that can easily be remedied during the hearing. One of them he brought up was recreational fires. Wasn't sure about the date, and I says, well, that can always be a discussion during that
I
time.
was going to ask you about that, Dave. Okay.
That's the existing ordinance.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It
Yeah.
doesn't,
A lot of the problems with the cooking fires was that it wasn't really delineated in any manner, so that if you've got a 10 to 12-foot flame going, if someone just throws, a hot dog on a stick, you can call it a cooking fire. It gets kind of ridiculous, so it really needed to be defined. This is quite of other things that needed to be defined. So I think it'd be a good idea for the town to update this and have a hearing and be able to advertise for it.
Okay. So that's all we're asking this evening.
Donna, would you be opposed to moving from the 28th to the next meeting, just because we're so stacked up for the 28th?
Yeah, it is stacked up. So when would that be?
The October one?
9th?
October 11th,
Yeah, because of the
Yeah.
holiday.
because
Sure.
the holiday on October 10th.
Yeah, and that's the one I remember, but I forgot to have the holiday.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I make a motion, we schedule a public hearing for the proposed changes to Chapter 42, Fire Prevention and Protection of Part 3, Article 2, for the first meeting in October.
October 11th.
Second
because
that.
of Columbus Day.
That's a motion.
Motion been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Bob, you're looking tired, Bob. Cemetery Commission, discussion and possible vote to approve the commission's amendment to cemetery handbook rules and regulations.
Come on down.
Come on now, you're right.
Oh, sit, Bob, sit.
My name is Bob Sodoma. I'm the assistant chair or vice chair to the Cemetery Commission. We've been working on changing some of the rules and regulations for on the handbook for a little over a year now. John Christo has put a lot of time and effort into this. Some of it's just a couple little minor things here and there. And something is like, one of the major things was we'd like to change the wording for like deed when somebody goes to purchase. The wording right now is a deed, and they don't really own the land. People think they own the land. What they're doing actually is they're buying the rights to be buried. So that's one of the major things that we'd like to change is remove the word deed and put in burial rights. And there are a few other things that are in there and stuff like that, but we went over at our last meeting. The commission felt, really comfortable with the changes that we have in there, and just like to present it to the council and hopefully to support it.
Yes, Mike.
So, two things. One, just a clarifying question. So I'm a Tiverton resident right now, so I can purchase burial rights.
Correct.
What happens if I move out of town when I'm 95, say to a Portsmouth assisted living facility, and I die the next year?
Once you purchase the right for burial in the town of Tiverton, you move out, you do not lose the right to be buried in the town of Tiverton.
Good, because I'm going to live to 150.
You could be 105, Mike, and I'll make sure you still get buried there.
It's going to be older than dirt.
No, that's one thing. Once you purchase it, and you purchase it, the burial right legally, you can move wherever.
Okay.
You can come back. I mean, we have somebody right now that is in Las Vegas, and they brought the same thing up, but once you purchase it, and you will, a Tiverton resident, once you purchase, you can move wherever. You own that right to be buried there.
Right. So, but if I purchase it, I move out, and I decide to purchase somewhere else, I want to transfer it to my daughter who doesn't live in Tiverton, I can't do that. She had, but doesn't now.
I think what you have to do at that point there is sell it back to.
I think you do cover that in,
Certificate of transfer of burial rights?
yeah, page 3 of the marked up copy. The commission will, you can transfer to a Tiverton resident, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it has to be to a Tiverton resident. If not, then you can, we will buy it back at the price that you paid for it.
So,
At the time, yeah. So
Lucky
the other piece that I don't think the solicitor has had a chance to look at this yet, so I would just suggest that we give him a chance to.
You haven't looked at this yet? Oh, okay.
so if you bought a 4-plot, you and your wife pass away, and your will says that this is supposed to go to your 2
Yeah.
kids, what, does that still happen? I mean, does it,
I think
If you bought a 4-plot,
right,
okay, and you use 3 out of the 4,
yeah.
there's no more single lots. There's no more single plots.
So what
No, I know.
Chris is saying is, him and his wife bought a 4-plot. They died. They're buried there.
So my 2
In
kids,
the will, they say they want their 2 kids to be buried there. Is that okay?
And they're not Tiverton residents.
And they're not Tiverton residents.
well,
'Cause
they
I'm gonna
were,
have that
they were
problem.
when I bought them, but
They were when you bought it, so again, once you legally purchase the right to be buried, and it's an immediate family member, you can bury anybody you want in there.
That's, because that's gonna be the
You know what I
question
mean?
of the day, of
It's-
people, of, you know.
You purchased it legally while you're in, you know what I mean? So if you move out, or your, God forbid, one of your children move out, and something happens, you want them buried in your, that will be allowed, because it was purchased legally.
Just don't want you putting somebody
Yeah.
else in there.
No, and I believe if you look into it, Chris, I believe it's in there. You know, again,
Alright.
And it covers all that.
People that,
yeah, I mean, we've been
Additional
spending,
person.
if you change the rules, that would be the biggest thing that I think anybody would have a concern with, is they bought something and now they can't utilize it the way they intended it. But
Yep.
that's-
I just found this like amazing that there was this much handbook. Like, it's a lot of paper just to get out of here, right? To get out of this world. But there was
It's just a check.
there was a change in there about if you were buried in the wrong plot. Because I know that
yes.
that had come
We
up.
changed that a couple of years ago after we had an incident.
Right.
Where the Cemetery Commission has the right to
You were there for that one.
switch
Fix it.
burial rights if need be.
Yep.
You know,
So you
it did happen a couple of years ago, was an accident, something happened where accidents do
It turned
happen.
out,
I mean,
yeah,
you know,
it turned out.
but that's all, but that's been taken care of, that's in there. And also, there's a few other things that are in there, it's been there for a long time, like, you know, only humans can be buried there. You can't bury your dog, your cat, your,
Car, don't.
you know what I
don't you
mean?
remember that
No
when-
cars anymore, and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's all in that handbook. We try to do our best to, you know, dot every I and cross every T, but, you know, there's always something that's gonna pop up later on that, you know, we didn't think of, but,
So what we need to do is not vote to approve, but vote to refer this to the town solicitor to look at. Is that what you want us to do?
It won't take me long, I didn't get a chance to do it.
I mean, again, I mean, if you wanna, if you feel more comfortable letting the solicitor go through it
I'll make that a
before you.
motion to turn it
You know what I
over to
mean?
the solicitor to review it and come back
Review
to
it
us
and return it.
Yeah.
with a suggestion.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Thanks, Bob.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor?
It's a dead issue.
What did you say before?
He's just dying to get there.
People are dying for me to do this. Administrator Cotta, discussion and possible vote to award a contract for air conditioning in town hall to
So-
Mark Plympton, DBA Hydronomics for $8,000.
So we did-
We're gonna let Donna make this motion when it happens.
So after that meeting where we all sweltered in here, we were actually in the middle of getting bids for at least to cool this chamber down. So actually, the two guys from Public Works Maintenance did a very good job of trying to corral and get some quotes. So there are 3 quotes here. There is one of the people who quoted is offering to provide the equipment for free and just install it. So it's your pleasure what you want to do. We could go out for a formal bid for everything if you want. You don't have to because it's under 15,000. We've done 3 quotes. They're all reasonably about, one is a little bit more than the others, but.
And it's okay, Mike. This is all, okay.
Well, you know, I always say never look a gift horse in the mouth, but
Yeah,
Why is
let's
he
move
doing
on this.
Because he's probably a Tiverton, is he?
He,
Tiverton?
Mark, is the fellow from Fogland.
Yes, okay, I knew that
Oh,
name.
okay.
Yes.
He's a nice guy.
He saw Donna melting.
Yes.
Did he?
So Donna, make the motion.
I'll make the motion to accept the contract for air conditioning in Town Hall to Mark Plympton, also known as Hydronomics, for $8,000.
You didn't make that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Joe, ignore Jay.
Was it your
Motion been
turn?
I
made.
don't make a motion.
Right,
I don't
and Jay
know, was
seconded.
it his turn?
No, this was your turn.
We wanted you to do
It's all
that.
yours.
We don't want you to melt anymore. Motion's been made and second. All those in favor? Thank God.
Thank
Right.
you.
Town administrator, approval of budget transfers for FY '22 as listed.
So we had a number of litigation issues this year that, and one of them is actually related to North Point, when we had an expert from our real estate person go out to California, take a look at what we were doing. Some of these bills came in a little bit tardy, so we're trying to clean up the red items on the budget. So now all of our accounts will be in the black.
Any questions?
I just have one question. So this is from last year's? budget?
FY '22, yeah. We're still getting some bills.
All right. Thank you.
I think we've got most of it. Denise Surratt did put out a blistering email this week to say, please get everything and anything, because the auditors will be here in another week or two.
Okay.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
So the budget transfers for FY '22 is listed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion-
Several people.
Yeah, motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? And my announcement, at the end of your agenda packet, you have a performance evaluation for Chris. His evaluation is due in September, so I'm hoping that you can all get this to Joan by September 22nd, September 2nd, and she will collate all the numbers, and we'll try to put it on the agenda, probably now the 28th.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?